What's going on, guys? It's another episode of DWE Radio, the radio that's not on the radio. But guess what? We're on Spotify and Twitch. I am your host, Miami the Great. Welcome back. We're on episode 14, and we're going to get into some talk about Stephanie McMahon returning to WWE on Raw this week. And we're definitely going to talk about what the IWC is most mad about from what happened yesterday. Pat McAfee being the mystery man for Randy Orton, but we'll definitely give you our thoughts about that today. Welcome here. If you're new here, please give me a follow on X. That's Miami the Great 305. Also, please give the Talk It Up page a follow. That's Talk It Up Podcast on X. Also, we are live on YouTube. Please give us a subscribe on YouTube. That's Talk It Up Podcast on YouTube. We have a lot of shorts, a lot of videos where we go live. Thank you guys for supporting us. And we're live on Twitch right now, which we're live every time we have one of our shows. That's Twitch, DWE Radio on Twitch. So please give us a follow over there too, if you don't mind. Thank you guys for joining us today. We are now in the studio, and we're going to talk about a lot of things that happened throughout the wrestling week. One of the most wildest, craziest wrestling weeks we ever had, especially yesterday. Like I say, I think that's going to be probably our big topic, but we'll definitely start off with Stephanie McMahon. But like I say, welcome here if you're new here. Thank you guys. This is DWE Radio. We are on Spotify. If you want to know what all of the episodes are, they are available on Spotify. That's DWE Radio 1 through 14, guys. They are not all on YouTube. So if you're looking through episode 1 through 14, that is on Spotify only. So please go over there and check us out. We will be thankful for that. If you don't mind. Like I said yesterday, I mean, we had a lot of stuff going on this week, but we're definitely going to go ahead and get into some talks about the return of Stephanie McMahon returning to Raw yesterday, this Monday. She came out first. You had Cody, then come out, does a promo, and then we had Stephanie McMahon, her music hit, which was quite interesting to me. I did wonder what was going to go with this story before we even get to what happened Friday, because now we know, and it seems like that all went to chaos. But Stephanie comes out, and you know, we all know the history of, you know, they was in New York, they was at Madison Square Garden. We know how much that means to her and her family. We even got appearance from Triple H too, which was really wild. But her his appearance was with Obafemi and Brock Lesnar. But yes, Stephanie came out. She looks great. We all know that she is going into the Hall of Fame for this year. And they just cut a promo, and one of the promos was kind of strange. I know it got a lot of attention where we are hearing the news that just came out this week about what's going on with Vince McMahon, and with his legal problems that he has going on. But he was saying that basically he was telling Stephanie McMahon that, you know, you're not your father, you know. And I took it the way I took it. I was thinking that, you know, maybe he was just saying that just to say that, hey, you're not running the business the same as your dad. But we know that at the end, Vince wasn't one of the, I feel like Vince was one of the great bookers. And I think this is going to kind of, you know, bleed into our next topic, like I say, about Randy and the whole McAfee stuff, because I got a lot of thoughts about that. But I really feel like we are around back that era where we are in right now. But yeah, Stephanie looked really great. I like her return. Great promo by her, and I thought, like I said, it was going to set up a lot of things for this Friday. But we did come to find out what was going on with this Friday, and like I said, we will see what was going to go next. I don't know if they're gonna is she still being a part of Cody's story? Like I said, I think she just came out because it was Madison Square Garden, and we got a lot of stuff going on with that. But like I say, we'll see. That's coming into the studio. Final Boss, baby. We was talking about the Stephanie McMahon return, Final Boss. Give us your thoughts about that.
Yeah, I'm here to let y'all know.
You're
We
real
already
low,
know
Final Boss.
why.
You're low.
Well, I can't help that because I got my headphone in. Can't help that. So hope I'm okay.
Low as heck. Okay,
Really?
go ahead. Okay, there
I
you go.
can't
You
help it.
sound okay. Now you
Um,
sound a little better.
but yeah. Hey, I'm not on mic. I'm on a head. I'm on a headset. But
Oh,
yeah, we are. I mean, we already know why we're really here. But until we get there, what's gonna be the next segment, ladies and gentlemen. But yeah, the Stephanie McMahon uh return, not a surprise. I mean, this was an MSG. We all know how much the Madison Square Garden arena means to the McMahons. We know that that Vince, McMahon Senior, did a lot of promotions there. Later on, we got Vince McMahon. So, every time they go to Madison Square Garden, they try to make it kind of like a Raw 25, like where, or like a Raw, I always remember more 25, but I would say like a Raw anniversary where, the stars will come out and they try to make it a really good show. I don't think this one disappointed overall. I thought it was probably, for me, I would say the best Raw of 2026. But yeah, I was not surprised that Stephanie came out because of where they are. Those who are not uh who are not familiar with the Madison Square Garden Arena, man. Hey, I'm from New York. Famously met Randy Orton and Ric Flair around that area, and because I just did a Raw show years ago at Madison Square Garden. And Madison Square Garden, if it still looks the same, which it probably does, it's a historical arena. Lots of stairs going up, how the entrance looks, and you go inside, and it's not in the best condition. Some of that could be, New York City funding is kind of hit and miss, and also because it's a historical monument at this point. So, you know, great name behind it, not really the best prestigious looking place to be. I don't know if it's still that way or not, but that's how I remember it being. Um, and yeah, Stephanie came out, played her music. That's been the same music forever. Um, Walked up to Cody and said, "Hey, you are, did this Cody is not the Cody that's ready for Randy Orton. I've known Randy Orton. Randy Orton, he's in a different mindset right now. Cody talked about things that Randy has done to, of course, his dad. Um, so we, going back to Legend Killer Orton, talked about how, hey, Cody, you have to get into a different mindset and say, hey, you're not like your father, the late great Dusty Rhodes. He, as she walked away, he kind of grabbed her arm, spin her around. We thought we were gonna maybe see him cut a Cody cutter or something. We didn't. But he grabbed her and said, "I got two words for you." Clearly a reference to her husband Triple H. Thank you. Um, we also got the very infamous line when before he spins her around of him saying, "Hey, all due respect, you're not like your father either." And I took that as saying, hey, you're not a great promoter, you're not a great booker, like your father. As we all know, Stephanie now is a COO. You got which is really old, Triple H's old position. Um, and he basically took that shot. Now, some have taken that line as the opposite and saying, you're not like your dad, you're not a bad person like your dad, you're a better person. But I took it more as you're not on the same caliber as far as in this company as what your dad was. That's how I took the line. Maybe I'm wrong. But that's how I took the line. Very interesting. Didn't hear any boos heard a lot of shocks and awes. Definitely gave us that shock value. As far as your assumption about her being in the story, doubt it. She made it very clear why she was there. She came out, clearly says, about McMahon Senior, it being special to him. Um, Cody also let us know why he was out there, because he said, what is Raw at MSG without the champ. So he said, "Hey, I'm here because I'm champion. I know I'm not a Raw superstar, but I'm here because I'm the champion." And Stephanie said, "I'm here because my grandfather did a lot of great things in this arena." So we knew why they was there. But one thing I did like, though, especially based off that last line by Cody when he said the thank you to Stephanie, is that I thought we were going in the direction where she's having this talk with him, and it's going to lead to Cody thinking about what Stephanie said, and it got under his skin. Is going to have him be well, Cody already is kind of a interesting baby face, but I thought it would make him be in the same caliber mindset, delusional, crazy um type of character going against Randy Orton, that he would do things that Cody doesn't really do. That he'll, yes, we have seen Cody will cheat to keep the championship. Remember that from his first run. But I thought it would lead to that kind of tapping into finally into him, and having him kind of have this weird turn. But if you think about it, and we'll talk about this later on in the show, that's really where we are with Roman and where we are with Punk, where they're kind of delusional, because we had Michael Cole kind of point that out during Raw. And again, we'll get into that, but it's kind of like it's kind of the same idea. Of course, come SmackDown, like we're gonna move into, we kind of didn't get that from Cody, but that's where I thought they were going based on the interaction between Stephanie and Cody this Monday. But overall, I love this segment. I thought it was a great opener. Then versus, hey, we're here on in the garden, and her Triple H coming out. I thought this was a better way to do it. A way to have them both be on the show, and in a different way that's meaningful to showing, hey, this is, we're going to roll to WrestleMania, not just, hey, we're here, and, we're tied to McMahon's. And the only caveat that I do kind of agree with, like I've heard from other podcasts, is that I feel like this promo between Stephanie and Cody, this would have been best done by Triple H because of their history with Evolution. I think that would have been a better use of this now. Maybe it could have switched roles, had Triple H come out there, do the line. He can definitely react to the whole "I got two words for you" because it's his line, and then have Stephanie do the whole breakup between Oba and Brock. I think they should have switched places here. I don't know if you agree, Miami, or not, but I'm gonna go to you.
Um, I can maybe see them doing that, because you can maybe have in the back of people fans' mind say, was Stephanie going to get hurt, because these are two big guys? So I like that idea. I didn't think about that, but I think if that's the direction they would have went, it would have been okay.
Well,
And like you said, I think
well,
the promo would have made more sense.
the idea would have been she's gonna break up Oba. And remember, the whole spiel was, you had Oba throw Adam like a rag doll, and you had this female in here against two big guys. Is Oba so out of control, and is Brock so out of control that they don't even care that it's a woman involved in this, in the Stephanie McMahon? That would be the whole idea I would be going with.
Yeah. I would love that, because I think that would have the fans like, oh my God, is they going to attack Stephanie? Now, I ain't gonna lie, Final Balls. When I first seen Triple H, that's the first thing that came in my mind too. But like I said before, we had got what we got for Friday. I was thinking that she was still going to be. It was sort of going to probably be like a sort of um type of authority type of thing going on, where they was going to do the authority with her, Triple H, and Randy, because they all have history together.
Oh
That's
God, you
why.
bringing
So
back the authority? It's best
yeah,
for
I was
business.
thinking that at first. So I was like, okay, I kind of like this, because it was interesting that they brought Stephanie out there, even though you're saying what you're saying. I was like, well, maybe Stephanie would still have some type of involvement with this, but like I said, we all found out Friday what happened. But hey, it's great to see her. This might be the first time we actually seen her on screen and part of a storyline in quite some time. Final Boss. I can't really remember when the last time we seen her actually be a part of a story. It's got to be in quite some while because we know she stepped away from a while. She seems like she's starting to get back into it. I know there's a lot of people kind of word whispers going around about, other things that maybe somebody else could be, coming back soon. But I don't think that. I just think that, hey, she's getting back into it. She's getting her footing back under her. And she seems like she wants to be back involved, which is could be a good thing for them because they need it. And just feels like Raw is the better show, and we'll definitely get into why Raw is the better show
I think the
as we
last
get into
time, I think
talking about SmackDown.
the last time we seen Stephanie, if I remember correctly, was during the John Cena's last match down there on the Saturday Night Main Event, as far as
Yeah,
I
yeah.
can remember.
Well, I was saying like as storyline wise. I mean, we seen her,
Uh,
but I'm saying like storyline wise. I think she hasn't been involved as storyline wise. My bad. I meant to say as
mm,
like storyline wise. I don't think we seen her on screen quite a time.
well,
Hey,
well,
she
I
had
don't,
did the
we can't, we can't get that from her anymore. The reason why is because of the status of Triple H. Because back then, we all remember her. She was an in-ring competitor back in the day. Her, Shane, and of course,
mm,
Vince was. But years later, when we did get her in the ring, it was usually tied in with something with Triple H. But now that Triple H is unable, he's retired. He has the heart problem. We can't we won't really see that from them anymore because we can't have the whole power couple thing that
yeah,
they like
yeah,
to do so much because of. Now I'm not saying she can't do anything because I don't know if she has any physical restrictions. She looks great. Looks like she did 20 years ago, to be honest with you. But yeah, we don't have Triple H being physical anymore. So that means that whatever type of issue that she gets into, it has to be a female type of feud. She can't have weird things with men because it's not like it can turn into a match between Triple H and the male superstar. So that's the limitation that we have now. Like if Cody would have came out there and hit a crossroads on her, I mean, what the hell Triple H going to do? Is just go ahead and just suspend him? I mean, he can't get physical. So it would be very limited. It wouldn't go anywhere just because of that limitation. That's the only issue here.
yeah, yeah. I feel you on that, Final Boss. Yeah, we'll see. If it's just a one time thing with her. Like you said, I think it is, but we'll definitely see. But let's get into maybe one of the top topics that might be in today. We're going to go and switch to a little bit of SmackDown. We won't go over the whole card. We'll just go over the top highlight of it. I feel like was one of the top highlights of it, and that's Pat McAfee is the mystery man for Randy Orton. Randy comes out. His music hits. He did some promo because he was back in his home state. Kind of got a decent reaction if you ask me. I think on my end, and Cody comes out. He was a little upset. Coming out. Play the music. He didn't do no kind of fireworks, nothing. He was just like seeing like he was serious about business. Took off his jacket, got in the ring, and him and Randy start going at it. And next thing you know, we see a guy come out of nowhere from the other side and hit Cody from behind. And lo and behold, it's Pat McAfee. And the first thing I say to myself on the boss is, Pat McAfee? What is he doing here? And Pat McAfee grabs the mic, says that he reveals to the crowd and to the people who was watching that it was him all along on the phone with Randy Orton, and just gave this promo. From what I understand, you're saying was not a promo that WWE told him to cut. From what I understand, you're saying that he really cut it from off of the top of his own head and stuff. And we get this whole spiel from Pat McAfee, and it was maybe one of the most weirdest things I've ever seen. And I was like, my God. Um I know you said SmackDown is bad, but this reminds me, for one, and I know a lot of people left, and I know Pat SmackDown and WWE. It feels like I don't know if they're in a panic mode or they're trying to fix the leak that they already started from all the bad stuff they did, and they're trying to fix it through Pat McAfee, because you did point out that they. It seems like in Pat McAfee's promo, he was doing a lot of trolling. Shouts out to Jonathan Coachman that was saying that no, actually the things that people have been saying on podcasts was part of maybe Pat McAfee's spill of the promo and stuff. But I I'm just saying this as a fan because I'm the fan. I don't know too much about the business. I don't know what they're gonna do. I don't have no sources, but to me, I felt like it was not a great idea. We had a lot of more names in our minds that we could have thought it was. It was a time that I just not didn't see you said. Other people on the IWC saying that they could have got somebody else. Y'all didn't have no one else but Pat McAfee. You get Pat McAfee coming out later on, as when he got into the truck when he left with Randy after they got done beating down Cody. Coming out with a video on his ex, I guess the Papa TikTok and Instagram to whatever it was on, saying that if Randy doesn't win, he's never coming back to the wrestling. We're like, and it's not we don't hate Pat McAfee. It's the parent of this. I think it's the idea of him being the person with Randy. And I guess that's what it came off with. And then we went off into the rest of the night where we are hearing rumors that they brought back out Cody again to do another promo. I know we're probably going to speak about that a little later because I do got that because it felt like I said homelander Cody Rhodes because it feels like it was a heelish type of promo. We'll talk about that a little later, but it was not something that I liked it, Final Boss, from my, as a fan, but it does feel like almost pandemic s. And I know I if it's any AEW fans, go get your AEW fans because I'm just gonna say it. Man, I think AEW is taking the win here, man, because this is pitiful. This is bad. And when I say bad, the last time I could remember, and I could be wrong, is back when there was pandemic S. And I'm hearing that I know and this is something that Final Boss always told me. We always blame the person we see the most. I know a lot of people blame Triple H, they want him to be fired, but we come out to find out rumors saying that no, it was Ariel, the one that The Rock is best friends with, made this not just this call of bringing Pat McAfee in. From what I'm hearing, he's also the person that brought in the Travis Scott. Did that call. We all know he called The Rock because we seen Unreal happen, and that we found out that Ariel called him too. But this is not Triple H, guys. From what I'm hearing, it's Ariel. And I'm like, well, man, are we coming to a point where we need to just go ahead and tell TKO either sell the company or just give it to someone who knows what they're doing? Because this is not UFC. This is wrestling, and wrestling fans are different. I don't know if they're not understanding the business or they did not know what they was getting into. Maybe they thought, well, we can do it just like UFC, but what they're doing is not working. You pushed up the ticket prices. Yes, you did lessen up house shows, which we did have an episode about that. Yes, you have done these decisions, and like I say, it was great when the bloodline stuff was going on. I know a lot of people was like, "Well, we did get bloodline fatigue," which is true because you can get fatigue, but what we're getting now, it seems like, man, and this was one of Final Boss's, like, she was into this story, and one day they messed it up. Now I am hearing um things that because it seems like they're probably going to do damage control, where they're probably going to try to switch it and make it. They try to make this seem like when Stone Cold joined Vince McMahon, and they did the switcheroo with the Rock and with the corporate stuff, but I don't. I think it's too late, Final Boss. I think it's so late that even if they do try to switch it or try to change that dynamic where we're at right now, I think people are never gonna still forget this because it was such a like I say, it was such a. They're saying that this reveal was worse than Dan Houser Final Boss. That's how bad it was. I don't know. That's just my spiel, Final Boss. Um, Give me your thoughts about the Pat McAfee being a mystery man if you're there.
Yeah, well, he's not just mystery man. He's a mystery caller, actually, out of Miami. But yeah, we got this weird, and Miami did a great job of really going through what we saw, play by play, of the Pat, Randy, and Cody interaction, the first one of the night. We had Cody come back out again later. But now, Pat McAfee cut this weird promo where he's, first of all, the last time we seen Pat McAfee, he was a baby face. Remember, we saw him versus, of course, Gunther. But okay, we're gonna write him off for a while. And then I believe he came back one time and then was gone again. The last thing we heard from him was, he said on his show that he wasn't coming back to wrestling, that they think the business has moved past him. And then, we heard, hey, then it was probably promoted by WWE that Cody was gonna be on a Pat McAfee show. The day of the show, we find out that it was canceled because Cody had other scheduling obligations. We then learned that he also, I don't think it was that day, but at least that week, he was on Busted Open Radio. Shouts out to Dave. Shouts out to Bubba Ray Dudley, or Bully Ray, our favorite bully. But that's really the last that we heard of Pat McAfee. And he came out as a heel, wearing the RKO shirt, wearing shades, which I don't know if it was the shades, the timing, or if Pat McAfee just just let himself go. Because when I saw Pat McAfee last time I saw him, was when he faced Gunther, and he looked great. Here he is on Friday. He was unrecognizable to me. I don't know who the hell that was. Who the hell is this guy? I'm like leaning forward. It was so he announced himself. I'm like, oh, okay, yeah, I guess that is him. But he just looked older to me. He looked a little bit more stocky to me. I'm like, oh, it could have been just the RKO shirt. I mean, who knows? He's wearing the shades, but I didn't recognize him. Then I was like, okay, well, maybe he's here because when we're in Minneapolis, which is, of course, Randy Orton's hometown, one thing that Miami did forget to mention is that Randy took a shout out to his family. He had his wife and his whole family in the front row. He did cut that piece of the promo before Pat came out. But Pat comes out. He cut this weird promo where he's like, what happened to the days of The Rock? And he did the Rock reference, talked about Stone Cold or what, and he said, the Attitude Era, and you guys say, you can't sell tickets, it's the lowest of all, of ticket sales in town. It's a Randy Orton right here. Why does everything suck? Why the ratings are down? There's a Randy Orton right here. And I'm just looking at it like, yeah, that's kind of true, but also Randy Orton hasn't been booked this great in years. So Randy Orton was not going to bring was not going to sell out arenas. Like, let's be honest, not 2025, 26. Now, maybe, because now he's being pushed into this main, back into the main, and to be in like a main feud right now. He was going to be clearly probably night one of WrestleMania, main event of WrestleMania, night 142. But I mean, Randy, the way he was booked for the last few years, which shouts out to Randy Orton, because he was injured for a while, came back. Also, Randy Orton was letting other people shine. He had his time. He's a legend. But he wasn't booked to be a main eventer in years. Like, the last good run that Randy had that was recent was, of course, the RK Bros with Matt Riddle. And we all know where Matt Riddle is today. But other than that, I mean, before then, when was he really relevant? We haven't seen it in a long time. So for Pat McAfee to come out and to say that, and then, you say this Pat McAfee, and it's like, I remember that time when Randy Orton was pushed so heavily, he became Randy Borton at one point. We got Chris Jericho, I believe, that came out, did the Save Us From You, Save Us From Randy Orton, because we was Randy Borton. So I'm like, for you to say this next, and and it's just Randy Orton. It's kind of a stretch. Yeah, 14-time world champion, but he hasn't been placed in that and behind that card for years. Which again, understandably, he's older now. Letting people have time to shine, et cetera, et cetera. And then the person that's saying that is Pat McAfee, not a wrestler, right? ESPN guy. So it's like, what gives you the right to even say that? As one, you're not a booker. Two, yeah, you were at WWE, but you're just on there as, commentaries as far as the announce team. And yeah, you had the Pat McAfee show. We got a lot of great things with Pat McAfee show, including my favorite interviews between him and A Rock. A Rock just kind of shit on the business. But you're not known for being, in deep in the weaves of wrestling. Granted, you probably was a big fan. You did have that one match against Gunther, and it ended how we thought it was going to end. But it who gives you the right to say that? It's not like you were at the wrestler or at the commentary during the Attitude Era. But I've had seen other people say, "Hey." And him speaking on behalf of just as a wrestling fan, this is what we miss. This is what we want. Which cool. If that's where they were going, cool. I kind of get that. But you're saying all this, but you're not presenting what's the actual solution to this issue with the booking and the ratings and Attitude Era being gone. You gonna Attitude Era back, so we're gonna bring you. Like you're not gonna bring back somebody actually from the Attitude Era, or even book the current stars to be in the same caliber booking wise as Attitude Era that's got Pat McAfee. Yeah, no wonder why ticket sales are low, Pat McAfee. It's because of stuff like this. It ain't because just hey bad booking. Yeah, but now it's even worse booking now. Because they make decisions like this, and I was just blown. I couldn't believe it. I found it odd to be that this opened the show because I was, of course, on Twitter. Make sure you follow me as Final Boss Baby 2B's1YCFO on X. But I was reading reports on the timeline that the Randy Orton segment was going to main event SmackDown yesterday. So when he comes out in the opening, I'm like, well, maybe he's going to lead us up to it. Come out there, cut a promo, not reveal who the guy on the phone is just yet, and we'll see that later on tonight. Nope. We got right to it. And had Randy come out there, like I said, cut a promo, show his family in the crowd. We had Pat McAfee come out there and they beat down Randy Orton. So I'm like, oh, well, they did that because they knew that if they would have had this come in at the last segment of a 3-hour show now, people would have been even more pissed because we waited all this time for this reveal. And it was no hints it was going in this direction. And you wait 3 hours and this is what we're seeing. And from the last episode of DW Talk It Up, I said, hey, the reason they're bringing out the mystery man on the phone, unknown man on the phone, the unknown caller, shouts out to Star 67, not 67, Star 67, unknown caller, private, is because they want to have at least a couple weeks of Randy doing something with this mystery caller to build up to the match at Mania. It's like, it makes sense. You're not gonna wait till Mania because if my Mania be one pop. No, you gotta come out there, few weeks, ahead of time, build it up until Mania. So I'm like, that's why they're gonna reveal it this week. And then this is what we got. And the thing that made it also so annoying is that it's not like we got Pat McAfee come out there and beating down Cody, because hell, we had the whole thing between Randy and Jelly Roll, and that went nowhere. Randy and Matt Cardona, it went to like a match that really went nowhere besides the match. So I'm like thinking, hey, it could be the same thing, with Pat McAfee, because technically it is a celebrity appearance. But nope, he said, I'm the one on the phone. I'm like, well, that just solves the mystery. He went on to say, hey, I did say on the podcast that, I was done, with wrestling. So he brought all that stuff up and tried to really tie it together. I just was like, I just couldn't believe it. And the thing is that this was my favorite build for WrestleMania. I was into this more than the Punk and Roman feud. I was very excited about where Randy was going with him being so delusional, so out of place, hearing the voices in his head, this mystery person on the phone. They gave hints to it being his dad, Bob Orton. They gave hints to it being Ted DiBiase, where there was a weird video that had came out where Ted was saying he was on the phone with Randy. So there was all these teasers going around, but no tease that you guys have put out led to it being a Pat McAfee. I mean, how would you? Would you gonna say, oh, ESPN? Oh, okay, well then we know who it is. But no, the teasers kind of led in that direction. We were thinking maybe it could be a Ric Flair. Hey, maybe it could be freaking Vince McMahon. We were thinking about where it could go, but the hints all kind of went towards Randy Orton's father, or maybe Ted DiBiase. As we know, he was cleared of all charges recently with his case in Mississippi with welfare fraud. So to see this, I'm like, wow. And then the damage control is I'm on Twitter. I'm pissed off. I'm in the chat saying I'm pissed. I'm livid. I'm pissed. I'm upset. I'm going to bed. So I'm looking and I see a tweet from Cody Rhodes of Cody saying, "Hey, sorry about that. I'd like to say something before the end of the show." So I'm like, sorry about what? Sorry you got beat down, or sorry this is the bullshit that that we're looking at with Pat McAfee coming out there and being the guy on the phone. But that's all. But yeah, he said that, and I actually put it in our chat. Hey, make sure you send us a DM if you want to be in that chat. But yeah, I put it in the chat. I'm like, well, Cody's gonna come out there again later on tonight, so we don't know where it's gonna go. I'm thinking it was a red herring that, hey, well, Pat McAfee, there's actually somebody else gonna be part of this, and we're gonna see that person when Randy comes out later on in the show. We didn't get that. We got a fire up promo, him dissing Pat McAfee. We didn't get it not being Pat McAfee. Then I go on, I also see Pat McAfee is online with a video on X, on social media, saying, hey, if Randy Orton doesn't win the championship, I'm done with WWE. I'm making this promise to the IWC community that I'm done speaking on wrestling, coming out on wrestling. I won't touch it anymore. And we're like, who the hell cares? You haven't really gone since the whole Gunther match. You came back one time. We haven't seen you since. Besides really the interview with The Rock, which is also on ESPN, you haven't interviewed sporadically, but we haven't seen you on WWE TV since that one appearance after the Gunther thing match. And then it's like, and even so, you said weeks ago that you were done with WWE. The company has moved past you, which we all believe, because remember, that was the same type of line that we heard from Kayla Braxton, the former backstage interviewer, where she said, hey, the company has kind of moved past her. It took her off certain time periods of the show. She feels like she's old and has lost her luster. So now they got the Jackie Redmonds of the world, and that's how she feels. So when I'm reading this, and I hear this from Pat McAfee, I'm like, oh, it makes sense. It's kind of going the whole Kayla Braxton direction. He's probably just done with WWE. Hell, I mean, we got people, on the announcer table. Maybe they might use them here and there for a special, maybe not. Well, nobody said, oh, bring them back. We care because you're just an announcer who had one match. So I'm like, you're saying this to try to do damage control, South damage control, miss them. But so now you're trying to have a stipulation where, hey, if Randy Orton loses, you're not going to do anything with WWE anymore. Well, what does that have to do with you? I mean, are you going for the title? I mean, are you signed WWE as a wrestler, active wrestler, competitor? No. So why do we care if you're not going to be on the show anymore? You're not on now. I mean, what's the difference? To be the same thing you was all these months is just away. Like, to me, it's absolutely crazy. It's insane. Like Miami has stated, there's a lot of reports going out about it not being a WWE decision. It was a TKO decision. Um, and it came from the higher ups. It came from Ari Emanuel, not Ariel uh Halani. That's a podcast. So shout out to him. That's not the same person, man. But it came out from Mr. Emanuel, who is, president of TKO. The same guy who made that famous Culture Rock about Chamber, because the Chamber ticket sales were low last year, and he brought him out. That same guy is the one who made this call out to Pat McAfee. But Miami said a part that I didn't know, that he was also responsible for bringing out Travis Scott. I had no idea that was the WWE thing. Um, but according to BodySlam.net, um, this was a plan since Chamber, that Pat McAfee was the one on the phone. Since Chamber, that is what they are currently reporting. It also is reported, I forget who it's by, that TKO, especially Mr. Emmanuel, sees Pat McAfee as a huge star, and that he was going to bring huge ratings and be a huge draw for WWE. They see him as like a mega star. And of course, absolutely the wrong thing to look at. And then we got WWE trying to do damage control by having Cody Rhodes come back out there later on again and cut a promo. Um, like to me, it is insane. It's crazy. It's like, where are we now going? So, and it makes me also think, okay, so the only reason why we're having stipulation with, hey, he's done with WWE if Randy Orton loses, is, okay. So your idea, TKO, was to have Pat McAfee be the guy on the phone, really be the voice of the voiceless at this point, just like CM Punk, where he's the voice of like old school wrestling fans, and is just there to make sure that Randy Orton is gonna be the old school legend killer RKO guy, um, and is going to be, give us that kind of ruthless aggression that we had during the Attitude Era, and that was going to be enough. That's their idea. And Pat McAfee basically said it like, hey, I was on the phone telling him, to bring back that type of intensity. So it's like, that was your whole plan. So where were you going to go? Just going to have him come out Randy Orton for next 2.5, next 2 weeks now, pump him up and keep saying that, hey, we're here to save wrestling. We're here to bring back the old school era. Keep going with that on for 2 more weeks, and then just have him and Randy Orton in Randy Orton's corner for WrestleMania. Like, you thought that was gonna bring tickets and that was gonna make it better? Well, first of all, we didn't need you out there or even a part of the story for us to get this kind of Randy Orton. I get it, because he did say in the promo yesterday that you're on the phone was telling Randy Orton he needs to be the old school Randy Orton, which, okay, that part makes sense, but it's not like this is a new character for Randy Orton. This was, his old school, like '09 era Randy Orton, Legend Killer Orton. So we know that exists in him. Hell, he had the same voices in his head damn song for decades now. He's always been the Viper. Yeah, babyface, he was kind of the goofy guy, but he's still the Viper. He's still gonna do some RKOs. He's still the Apex Predator. It's just more of a more dimmed down version, not the Legend Killer, but he's still the Apex Predator. So we all know that exists. It's not like you're putting out a brand new character. He's going back to the old character. So do we really need Pat McAfee to do that? Do we really even need anyone to do that, when the whole idea of the story could have simply been, hey, I am back. And not back because of Eric Bischoff, I'm back and better ever. No, not that. But say, I am back because I am back in the main event. I am back, not a main event, the main event for WrestleMania. We assume night one, because we are assuming, based on the promo, that night 2 will be for Roman and Rob. But the idea could be, hey, I'm back back in the main card picture. I'm going for number 15. I'm going for a title. I'm going to be main eventing a night at WrestleMania. One would assume, and I'm back being the Legend Killer, because that was the guy who was out there turning heads, winning championships. I'm back to being this now. All these years, I've kind of been in the sidelines, allowing the newcomers, to come on up. Even did some tag team stuff. Of course, we had Rated RKO, him and Edge. We had Legacy, of course, early on. We had RK Bros. But I'm done with all that. It's behind me. I'm back to being a legend killer. Here I am. I'm back. I remember, who the hell I am. That could have been enough. You don't need to have, extra person on the side to be the one telling Randy Orton to do it. And the fact that we just had on Monday, we had Stephanie hint at it and say, hey, to Cody, hey, Randy's talking to someone on the phone, and whoever tells him on the phone got him, coming back into the old school Randy Orton. We didn't need an extra person. If you didn't have the person, we could have simply went back to him tapping into his own self. If you didn't have a good enough person, we didn't need a person at all. And the fact that we didn't need a person, you put a person, and the person is a person that's not even a wrestler, not someone of note, is absolutely insane. We already know he's probably not gonna have a match. He may get involved. Who knows? We know that he can have matches. We've seen him, of course, against Gunther, but to me, it's crazy, and it really undermines everything. It is too late, and the road to WrestleMania to do this shit. It is too fucking late to do this shit. We are now 2 weeks away from freaking WrestleMania. Tickets are not sold out, obviously. Hell, Pat McAfee said it yesterday, and here we are booking stuff like this. This could be your last opportunity, WWE TKO, to finally sell the last few tickets you have for WrestleMania, to really convince somebody like, hey man, I'm just gonna go ahead and do it. Like, hey, today's April 4th, April 30th, yesterday. I can still put in some PTO for my job. That's 2 weeks out. I can put it in now in my job. They probably are going to approve it because, most jobs require 2 week notice, for PTO. For PTO. I'm going to go ahead. I'm going to take my PTO. I'm going to buy tickets. I'm going to get on the plane. I'm going to go to WrestleMania because there's something great coming. I don't want to freaking miss it. No, instead, you're taking this opportunity and putting people who you think who are stars. And there seems to be an issue with TKO now that we learn where, hey, they're thinking these people are stars, these celebrity stars. They are stars, but they're mid-card based celebrity stars. Jelly Roll was hot years ago, still known, but he's not the same caliber that he was a year ago. And you bought Jelly Roll thinking that's gonna be some great thing. He came out last few weeks, basically ran the whole show, and now he's gone. I mean, what was the point of that? Why? Because TKO, I guess, assumes he's still a big star. We had Yachty come out there, talk about that a little bit later, but I mean, when has last time was Yachty even relevant? Then we had Travis Scott, which, hey, back then he was a pretty popular artist, but he also was tied up in a lot of things with issues going on with his concerts and people getting that whole thing. People got hurt, some people died in response to it. And him being this demonic character in real life, it kind of is weird, but y'all still brought him out regardless anyway because you thought he's such a big star. And here we are bringing out Pat McAfee because, again, TKO's thing is a big star. Same thing with Speed. Speed still known, but he's not the same caliber as he was a few years ago. Same thing with Logan Paul. Still known, not the same caliber as you were a few years ago. So is it that TKO is thinking that, hey, these guys are still relevant and they have lost touch about what stars is new, what stars is mainstream? Or is it just, hey, we need to have some mainstream stars on here because of WrestleMania season. We want to have the whole pop of having guest appearances and people just tune in for the casual fans. And hey, also, they're not as what they used to be, so they're a little bit more on the budget friendly side for us to get these name celebrities because they're not high in demand. It's either that or the TKO has no idea of what stars are popular right now in 2026 because there's some disconnect here. Why are we surrounding ourselves? And hey, I'm gonna go out and say it. Hey, if people want to go ahead, those folks want to come out here and send me a DM, they're open. But hey, why are we surrounding ourselves 2 weeks before WrestleMania with mid-card celebrities? Mid-card, that's what it is. Mid-card celebrities. Not saying they're not gonna be good in the ring because hell, Jelly Roll looks great. He was doing a great job on freaking SmackDown. He had all the charisma in the world to do it. Looked great in match against him and Kit Wilson. Man, I mean, people aren't gonna be buying tickets to see General. People ain't gonna be buying tickets to see Yachty. People ain't gonna be buying tickets to, to see Speed. And damn sure ain't nobody buying tickets, to see goddamn Pat McAfee. So like, so it's absolutely crazy to me. I mean, who else are you guys gonna bring in? That's a main a celebrity that is no longer a celebrity. What person that's fallen down so bad? I guess maybe Kanye West or maybe Drake. Hell, we had Bow Wow in the audience when they went down to damn Chicago, I believe it was. Oh no, no, sorry, not Chicago. It was Atlanta, Georgia. So I'm like, man, and that's a guy who grew up and never became anything great since he grew up. I mean, this is a guy who's playing usually for like free concerts inside of like arenas and not arenas and venues and clubs and stuff for free. I mean, at this point, you might as well go ahead and give Robin Thicke. I mean, Robin Thicke's out there doing stuff in Busch Gardens in front of 10 people. Hey, go ahead and have the East Side Boys. They're doing stuff at Dan Sewell, I guess. I mean, I guess go ahead and get them. I mean, maybe go ahead and get TLC because they're tired of some stuff with political stuff. Maybe I don't know, but I mean, but at this point, I mean, where is it? Where is somebody on that TKO board to say, hey man, uh, I know you like this celebrity or this person, but they don't have the same drawing power as what you think they did years ago. No one is saying that. It reminds me of Def Rebel, where hey, you had this group of producers and people who did music. Music was so bad, and there was not one, but Def Rebel was a group of people, and no one said, "Hey, this shit is trash, it's garbage music." No one said that. Like, there's no one gonna stand up and say, "Hey, man, this is shit." Like no one's gonna stand up and say that. I believe Triple H did because Triple H obviously tried to fix it by having them come out first and not have us wait until the main event of SmackDown. But I mean, at what point is someone going to say something? I'm gonna go to you because at this point, I mean, I am just annoyed. I'm personally annoyed because this was my favorite feud for WrestleMania, and that quick in an instant, you guys have shitted on something that you guys have been building for weeks, and we're fucking 2 weeks out from fucking WrestleMania, and you guys shit it all over it. Thank God you did it. You did it yesterday, and you didn't do it 2 weeks from now because it would have been a whole Travis Scott thing all over again, but worse.
Well, we see you're upset. Shouts out to everyone. Um you actually got the numbers up. We was at 100, and when you went to your spill, we had 193. So look at that.
Man, it's because it's
So
it's freaking ridiculous. Could you imagine? Because I know we talked about this last week on DW Radio. You were like, man, why they putting them out now? Why not wait until WrestleMania or maybe to go home show WrestleMania? And I'm like, no, no, no. Do it now. It makes sense because it gives us time to build up until WrestleMania. It's gonna be somebody big. I said it. Go back, listen to it now. It's 3 hours show. Go back and find it. I said no. It makes sense because if you do it now, if you reveal the person now, it's gonna be someone big because they're gonna be doing stuff with Randy up until WrestleMania. They're gonna be building it up the next 2 weeks, 3 weeks, and then nope, that's not the reason. The reason is because probably WWE, probably Darren Triple H was like, man, do it now. Go ahead and rip up the band-aids now. Because if we reveal this stuff, who this is, which is Pat McAfee, at WrestleMania, it'll be a Travis Scott, but worse. The absolute uproar and we want refunds will be going from the left side of the arena to the right side of the arena if we did that. Because you imagine they would have had this match and they between Randy Orton and Cody Rhodes at WrestleMania night one, main event, and you have commentary saying, "Hey, the person on the phone is coming. Is gonna come down here. We all stand up, get excited, and it's fucking Pat McAfee." Could you imagine how bad that would be? It'll be they wouldn't be able to come back from it. I'm pretty sure people would probably even sell their tickets for night two because of that. So they had to
Yep.
do it now. So now it makes sense. This whole time, I thought they were going to do it now because they wanted to have a great build up to WrestleMania with Randy Orton and this mystery caller. Nope, they're doing it now because it's a freaking band-aid. Go ahead and get it over with now. It's crazy. But yeah, Miami. With that being said, I'm gonna go back to you. Mhm.
There's a few things I'm gonna take here. We've been on this a lot because I think we're a lot upset as much as the IWC. We're speaking as fans, people. I want to remind people that, and I think sometimes it's good to get the fan perspective. And I think the fans need a voice. I'm glad DWE Radio is around. With that being said, I think that, like I say, the link is available to you on the Talk It Up podcast. Is right. You'll see the link. It should be right below
Yeah,
the.
and if you
Um,
want to go ahead and absolutely let it rip, shuts out the Beyblade. I don't know if y'all remember that, but no, if y'all want to go ahead and and let it rip because you're pissed off because WWE's booking, no, not even TKO's booking, then go ahead and give us a call. We'll love to hear you go off because it's absolutely crazy. Hey, I personally 30 minutes before this podcast, I went down. And if you don't believe me, take a minute. Don't leave the goddamn space though. Don't leave the goddamn live now. Y'all find a way to multitask and do this shit. But y'all go down to Pat McAfee's timeline. You go to all the references he talked about him and Randy Orton, bringing it back. You'll see me go in there and say, I am pissed. We're going to talk about it today on DW Radio. Go ahead and look. Go ahead and look. I'll wait. Go to Busted Open on X. Go to Pat McAfee on X, and you'll see it. Because I damn flew went on ahead and did it. Because you know why I did that? You wanna know why I did that? Yeah, because I'm genuinely fucking pissed. But I am more pissed because Pat McAfee came out probably on the direction of TKO, maybe WWE, but probably TKO, went on the timeline and said, I'm talking to the IWC community that hey, if Randy doesn't win, I'm gonna step away from wrestling altogether. So I'm like, oh, so you're really talking to us now. You're talking to the IWC now. Hey, you call us out. Hey, well, the IWC community, the podcasters, we have answered your call, and not the call between you and Randy Orton. We answered the call because you said, hey, you're talking to us. Well, here we are. Let's go ahead and talk. Pat McAfee, listen. Hey, you're welcome to come on the show. If you want to, we'd love to be on the Pat McAfee show.
well, there's a few things here, like I was saying, and like I said, everyone, the link is in the bio. I mean, well, not in the bio. It's pinned to the Talk It Up page where you can get your calls in and come in and talk to us. And this, I had this conversation. I'm gonna take y'all backstage. Me and Final Boss had this talk back way before Swerve. Um, I think Swerve was going for the AEW title. I think Will Ospreay was hurt, and I was like, man, AEW's booking pretty good, Final Boss. And she was like, man, you know how they is. You know, WWE will be okay. That's all right. We'll see. Fast forward later, here we go. I mean, and I know we're the WWE people, but like I said at the top of this conversation, this topic is I gotta give people credit where credit's due. And like I say, Jonathan
Mm-hmm.
Coachman put out a great video. If
Mm-hmm.
y'all didn't see
and
Jonathan
and I
Coachman,
also and I also said in our chat yesterday, man, hey, AW got Chris Jericho, we got Pat McAfee, man.
well, at first I talked to you about this. I was like, well, it seems like they're going to be scrambling. I said, well, maybe that's why they did this call because they seen Jericho go over there to AEW and they're going to do something that tries to either match that or come close to that to give us something where fans are like, oh man, they came back with a great person to reveal this. Because I was telling you once they told us when we seen the Randy video, hey, I'll see you in St. Louis. I was like, man, this is kind of crazy. They're going to reveal this on a SmackDown Final Balls. But I was like, it might won't be too bad. But there was a few things you said there, and by me doing music, I kind of
Hmm.
understand what you're saying, but I'm going to take you behind the mind of what I seen from experience. Well, you got people that are
Oh,
higher ups.
it's inside the mine of Miami on a Saturday.
Well, because I'm being serious. Like I seen it with my own person. I shouts out to my boy, man. Ross, me and Rick Ross, we do talk. That's my boy. He from Miami. We do talk. Like that's my dog. I've been to his house a couple times. I mean, we chopped it up, and he's taught me this business and how the business is. And it seems like it doesn't matter what business it is. It seems like it's all the same because when you have a person that's over a company like the CFO and the COO, um, like us.
Hey, wait a minute. Hey, that's me. Oh,
Exactly. And if we're doing something that, let's say, our golden boy and our After the Slam podcast guy doesn't like, would they tell us? Maybe. But would they tell us to change it? They'll say, man, I don't know about this. It'll be kind of like you want to tiptoe around it. Now, was there a person that said that? Maybe, maybe not. We don't know because a lot of people are worried about, man, if I say, man, this gonna be trash, I'm gonna get fired. Now and what makes me say that? Keynote that and see this is what WWE fucked up at when they do this Unreal. And yes, we're on Spotify radio. I hope we don't get strictly on YouTube because I just cursed, but hey, it's only one word, but hey, here we
oh
go.
Jesus. Well,
But
hey, I done cursed like
but
5 times. You
but
are cursed.
but I think the thing here is, guys, and we can't defend this. I'm just gonna be honest. It's been times. No one can say we have an episode. You can see here when we was back doing talking up. What we called Triple H and was like, man, the booking. We've called WWE out like many companies have done were podcasters because the IWC, I think we don't get the credit. Let's shout out to all the podcaster people who are not known that are doing this wrestling content. Shouts out to you because we don't get that recognition of our voices being heard. If you're with someone bigger to get your voice heard, shouts out to you. DWE doesn't have that I say swagger, I guess. But hey, people are watching because I know they're
We didn't
watching because
have that luxury, I should
yeah, that,
say.
that luxury, that swagger that other people have. But guess what? We have people watching us. We know you're watching because hey,
Swagger. Hey. You calling out Jack Swagger? I'm gonna get
no,
you on your
but
knees.
and
The
this is
old
the thing.
American,
I think I'm
American,
gonna get to
American,
my
American.
I think I'm gonna get to my point is I'm not upset that you're watching us or you're doing stuff we're doing. That gives me a thing that I'm doing something right. And I'm glad that I'm encouraging you, especially if you're bigger than me, you're still, looking at something like, man, we need to do this. Hey, shouts out to you. Thank you. That gives me a pat on the back. And one thing I could say is I hope that DWE has built a community where we can give other people their voices to say that this man, this is trash. I cannot defend this, final boss. And this is not a shot
Hey,
at Pat
hey,
McAfee. We're
hey,
talking
wait a
about the
minute now.
booking,
Wait a
the
minute
whole
now.
structure. Well,
Because
exactly.
I do remember where someone, and hey, if someone from that team was listening, hey, when someone said, "Hey, we are trash," and we took that shit and I freaking ran with it. You love trash. You love digging through you love digging through that garbage. You love digging through that recycle bin so much. You love collecting them cans for 5 cents, 10 cents in Canada now. Shouts out to Slam if you're in Canada, but 10 cents is out in Canada. 5 cents out to us in the US. Hey, when someone said, hey, you gotta swim through the trash and you gotta smell the limes on the island. Hey, I remember when someone said that, hey, this is trash. And the person who called us trash, the goddamn trash man, the cleaner man is gone. Right? So I mean, hey, just because somebody is trash doesn't mean they're always gonna be trash. Now we would never trash, but not saying that is for WWE that it can't be fixed because we see them do it many times when their backs are against the wall. We saw it for Chamber where last year the build to WrestleMania was really bad. they called, they made some phone calls, had a great chamber, and turned things around. You had Triple H come out during their conference back where he did those and said my favorite line and said, "Hey, do we feel like we're WrestleMania season now?" And yeah, you gotta give it a couple weeks because we were mad because up until Chamber, the bill was so bad, and we've always looked at it as historical fans of the road to WrestleMania starts when it starts at the Royal Rumble, and the Royal Rumble had came and left, and we still weren't, excited for WrestleMania. It still wasn't there. We had Chamber, we had Triple H come out and say, like I said, that famous line during the press conference, and it was that in our heads that we realized that the road to WrestleMania doesn't start um at Royal Rumble anymore. It starts at Chamber. And it makes sense now because they have moved WrestleMania back 2 weeks to go ahead and adjust for the weather. So it makes sense where we're going to push it back one whole PLE from Rumble to Chamber to be on the road to WrestleMania. And that kind of sets our mind frame of, hey, it starts. So, with that being said, we have seen WWE pull themselves from the hole before. Can they do it now? Don't know, but you can't put it past them. Because hey, and there is a saying, I'm going back to you, Miami, because I'm not cut you off, but hey, I'm going to go ahead and say this. People want to call people trash. Hey, we were called trash back, when we first started. I mean, look at us now. And look at us then. Hell, even then we were the fucking shit. Let's start there. But hey, there is a saying that goes out there. I know you heard it. Hey, one man's trash is another man's freaking treasure.
Well, yeah, that is true. But like I say, it's nothing wrong with someone saying something's bad. I think we have that luxury as wrestling fans, wrestling contenters out there that we have that luxury of saying it's bad. I mean, and you can see they was doing damage control throughout the day. I think this is maybe the first time we have ever seen something throughout the day where they was trying to fix this. Pat McAfee put out maybe
Mm.
2-3 videos of they seen because we heard the rumors that Triple H seen the negative content comments that was online, and they sent Cody back out there. And our golden boy EVP said it perfectly. We're gonna definitely get to the comments where Cody called Pat Disco Inferno. I know people that probably went over a lot of people's heads. And it's I guess I'm telling my age, but I know who that was because it was a guy from back in WCW. But you sent Cody out there, and like I said, I love this promo, especially the part when Cody was like, "Hey, man," um, he starts doing this spiel and saying, "Hey, you guys fired me before, but you seen how that went. So if you want to fire me again, go ahead, and we'll see how that goes because you see what I went to go do." And that was a saying that, hey, I was the one that went and started AEW. So hey, if I say what I say, y'all don't like it, you can fire me. But guess what? I'm going to go do something else like I did last time. And I was like, man, this is crazy. Um, and like I said, reports came out, and you said it, and we seen reports saying that they did send Cody back out there. It seems like his promo was unscripted too, but it seems like throughout the night they was trying to fix this final boss. They was trying to fix it either that. Shouts out to you, Radio Oregon, because I know you probably watch it because it's probably like 10
Yeah.
minutes, 20 minutes ago
Well,
that he put
well,
out something about the whole Pat McAfee thing just now, a couple minutes ago on his ex, because it popped up on my timeline. But
one thing Cody had said, he said that in the recent interview, is that Cody has said that he's tired. He said he doesn't like long, drawn out storylines because he gets tired of fighting the same few main card guys. So that was from that Cody said, which ties to what? The booking. We also know about the interview that Roman had a few months ago about the booking of him and his family. So here we go again now. There's two people that have now talked about the booking. More recently, what do we get? We got one of my favorites, a fellow Italian queen, the Bellas, Nikki Bella came out and talked about the booking on the Nikki and Bree show, where she talked about she was frustrated with the booking because when they re-signed, she thought she was gonna be on every single Raw. She wasn't. It was like, oh, well, we'll call you when we need you, and she couldn't believe it. The booking was just not in a good place. And next thing we know, they magically came back, because remember, we had Bree return at the Rumble. We went berserk. Well, I went berserk. I don't know about y'all, but I damn sure did. Bree mode. And then they came on Raw, announced they were back, and then they were gone for a month. Then they go ahead, they do their podcast. Nikki Bella talks about her frustrations, and then the next week, literally the next week, that Monday, they're back on TV, and now they're part of the women's tag team division, as they should be. It just came out of nowhere, and we kind of skipped from her having this whole thing with um Stephanie and Raquel. We got the beat that we had all those beat downs on her. Now, granted, I understand why, because now we got Raquel and Liv and Stephanie to worry about now for WrestleMania. But we kind of moved from that. Of course, we had a match. Also with her and Raquel, but we moved from that and just had them right back in to the to the tag team division, because because Brie came back during the Rumble. So this is multiple active, not past, but this is present superstars that have gone out and talked about creative and talked about booking. And now here we are with Pat McAfee, who was sent by TKO, which is being reported, according to sources, which I read on thebodyflame.net. They're saying sources. I don't think it didn't specify what sources, but it was reported through sources that the Pat McAfee promo yesterday wasn't really planned. He went off script. So I'm like, I guess this is a work shoot promo about how he feels about the product. So now we have an ESPN guy talking about the product. So it's not just the IWC saying that. The people who work there are saying that. And the people who are saying that are people that are in main feuds. Roman Reigns, one of your biggest stars on the card. Cody Rhodes, one of your biggest stars in the company. The Bella Twins, and not the biggest in the company, but did a lot of things during the Divas era, and is pretty known, Hall of Famers, right? And they're saying the same thing. So it's not just the IWC being the IWC. No, it's people who work there are saying that.
Yeah.
Now, well, we can go ahead and say, hey, this is kind of like when, there's a company that's not wrestling, like a store or a restaurant, where, it's bad service, bad food, bad atmosphere, the place is not clean, not dirty. And then we have the employees complaining about it, and corporate America doesn't give a damn. They're like, oh, well, either work here or leave. We'll find somebody else. We'll pay them less than you, and we'll still have a business. But then usually what happens is what? The customers, the patrons, they'll start complaining. They'll start going, and that's when they'll make those changes. We've seen it all over. I think a good example of that is Domino's, right? Because Domino's had this whole thing where Domino's was going down to absolute shit because, yes, we had people, delivery drivers over there killing people trying to get pizza delivered in 30 minutes. But also because the quality of pizza was so bad, people stopped eating Domino's. What they did, they went on ahead, they rebranded, they fixed the quality control issues, with the food. They went on to have better marketing, got rid of the whole 30 minutes or less thing to put safety first. Worked on having good discounts and coupons because they had the two for $6.99.99. And now it's back to being like the number one or number two pizza chain in America, because they took that feedback. It's a great modern day example of something like that. We see a lot of companies go through, restructures where they listen to the consumers because they're starting to lose money. Another one that's going to be very controversial is Target. We know about Target because we know that the government. I'm not going to say presidents because I don't like getting into politics here, but we know the government went on ahead and they rolled back required DEIs, which is really diversity in products and stores. They rolled back those requirements, and we had a lot of businesses, including famously Target, who saw that and said, "Oh, well, we're done. We don't have to go ahead and comply." So what they went ahead and did, they went on ahead put all the ethnic products on discount. So they were done selling uh, ethnic products, and said, "Hey," and basically said, "CEO basically said in so many words, hey, we don't need your money. It's not like it's bringing us any additional funding because it's owned by this person or that person of color or whatever nationality. Really, person of color is the answer. I'm trying to dance around that." Um, and then what happened? People started boycotting Target. They saw record lows when it came to profits, and they kind of pulled everything back and said, "Nope, we're sorry. We're going to go ahead and carry your products." And a lot of people said, "Too little, too late." And I think a lot of people have went back to Target. I mean, they're not a business yet. I mean, they're still doing pretty well, but their stocks have went down for historic lows for a while. They went from being worth dollars to worth cents, when it came to being listed. So, and they had to go ahead and re-eat that. Now, where does this make sense with wrestling? Well, usually when it comes to companies, to big corporate America, when they hear complaints from inside, which is your employees, they don't do much. They kind of brush them off. They're disposable. They don't really do anything when it comes to their income. What actually keeps businesses alive, and even though that's not always true, because as we know, Wall Street business alive is two people. It's the consumers and the workers. But corporate America, they don't look at it that way. Person that keeps them actually, in business, profitable is the consumers, because that's the ones who use their services. Those are the ones who are buying their product, if it is a product or a service, if it's a non-tangible product. So usually they listen to the consumers. Well, WWE is kind of a weird thing where, hey, the consumers, which is us, the fans, is saying the product is bad. We have shown now with the lackluster ticket sales and the viewership, and they haven't really made a lot of changes. They said they have, but they haven't. Now we have even the people working, the wrestlers are saying that, and there's still not changes. So what's it gonna take for them to make those changes? Hell, we went through that a time before. I know you remember it, Miami. Remember the Authority when it was so bad? And they said, "Listen to the fans now. This is your
Oh
company. You
man,
guys run it." Yep,
never got
yep.
that.
Yep,
Jesus, you
yep,
took
totally
us
forgot
back at
about that.
then.
Yep, totally forgot that. Remember we had Triple H and Stephanie come out there and say that now, and we're listening to you, and then what happened? And now we're in a place where it's so weird because they said that during the Vince McMahon era. We can always say, hey, it was a Vince era. I mean, yeah, you guys said that, but it was still being ran by, Vince and, his board members and whatnot. Yeah, Stephanie, you were there, and yeah, you're his daughter, and yeah, you know, of course, Triple H is there, and yeah, yeah, it is, yeah, that, yeah, yeah, yes. Shout out to yeah, yeah, yes, like that, man. But here we are where y'all guys said that. We're talking about Stephanie and Triple H said that years ago. Didn't happen. Well, now here we are years later now, where you two actually are running the company. Yeah, we have the TKO because they bought WWE, but you guys are in prominent roles now in WWE, and we're still not getting it. So to me, it's ironic, and it's crazy. The same folks who said it's your company now years ago, when it was ran out of McMahon, are now running the company now, of course, with TKO, and they still can't fix it. I mean, to me, it's crazy. We've heard from both sides. Where's it? What's it gonna take? Now, I will say it does appear like the artists and the fans, because as you said, Miami, um, we had the whole change where we had Cody come back out there. Cody made a tweet, like I said earlier, saying, "Hey, hey guys, sorry about that. Sorry about what? I don't know. So, sorry about that. I like I said something before the end of the show where he basically went on ahead and shit on Pat McAfee. There's probably gonna be some kind of swerve coming later on before WrestleMania because of the backlash. So they do listen, which is kind of great, but also kind of not great because when they do listen, they only listen to stuff after. They are more they're more retroactive. Sorry, they're reactive instead of retroactive. They know, hey, the booking is bad. Let's make it better. No, the booking is bad. Let's go ahead and give them this. It's still bad. Let's try to fix this. They are fixing problems they already created versus trying not to create problems and trying to just have a good product and not have those problems. That's the issue. If they would just go ahead and say, "Hey, ticket sales are not selling for WrestleMania. They're not selling out. I should say they're selling, but they're not sold out. Okay, let's go ahead and do something." No, they did something and it's not good something. So now they gotta fix up the other bad thing that they did. And we talked about this weeks ago on DW Radio about reports that TKO was not happy with the ticket sales. They wasn't happy with ticket sales for Chamber, and they're not happy with ticket sales for WrestleMania. We're like, I think it's 19% less around the same time frame for ticket sales this around this time last year. So they weren't happy about that either. They talked about how they was just going to take any type of recommendations or any type of ideas from people who worked, backstage in WWE, and they think, hey, how can we increase sales for Chamber and for WrestleMania? So what did we get? We got the mystery box, what we found out was Danhausen, and we got all these mystery men. We got that. They fumbled the mystery men really bad. They fumbled the mystery box really bad because yeah, we all love Danhausen now, but delivery of the build up to it and what they did at that Chamber, wasn't great. It was a great debut. I loved the whole thing, the box and the dancers and the wife was there, and everything was there. But the build up to it for what it was and who it was, it didn't exceed our expectations. The mystery guy thing is absolutely was garbage. That's why slowly we're seeing Seth kind of move from the mystery man thing. We also saw it, with Austin Theory. We're like, oh, we're kind of, let down by that as well. And now here we are. Okay, we're past those things, but here we are with the mystery phone call. And again, the reveal is also not great. It is not just not great; it's terrible. So we're gonna have a whole bunch of mystery reveals. So think about it. If you really think about it, Miami, we have had multiple mystery reveals leading up to WrestleMania. The mystery box, the mystery man, and now the mystery phone call, and all have been not not the best. They've all have been really letdowns for us. That's three. Three strikes are out. I mean, I don't know if you noticed. Yeah, because we've had three mysteries leading up. I ain't saying three mysteries. No, three mysteries that up till leading up to WrestleMania that have been flops. So what are we gonna have next? We're gonna have, I don't know, maybe a mystery GM, maybe, I don't know, because
Oh,
we was, yeah,
let's
we're
not
doing
do that
mystery reveals now. That's what we're
again.
doing. Mystery tag team partners now. Remember that was a thing back in WWE years ago. Maybe we had mystery
Yeah,
tag team, mystery
yeah,
opponents. Maybe we'll
yeah.
bring that back. Maybe. I mean, technically, that's where they were going with the open challenge with Brock Lesnar. Then we kind of pulled from that. Now it's gonna be over Femi, right? So we kind of was doing that, right? Sort of, kind of. Well, with the open call. So here we go again. More mysteries. In that case, it wasn't a flop, but it kind of didn't work out as far as the open call. We kind of just moved to, hey, it's gonna be over. But the whole idea of the open call thing kind of flopped. Um, and so it's like, okay, what do we do now, Miami? What do we do now? I don't know if you have anything to talk about what I just said, or if
Um,
you have any last things before we move on to the next.
now you kind of summed up everything. I let you take the for because I knew this was your story, and I knew you love this feud. I agree on everything you said. Like I was saying that um it's frustrating right now to be a WWE fan. Let's just be real. We have to be honest. Um, and like I said, I took a break from AEW because I was like, oh, I need to really focus on WWE, see what direction they're going to go, the things they're going to do, and things like that. And like I say, I have no, disregards about AEW. I love what they do. I love the product. Me and you are big fans of AEW. So, but right now, I mean, they have to be like living like, man, we got the W like crazy. And like I said, shouts out to the coachman that said that WWE is trying to fix this whole thing by doing it through Pat McAfee. And trying that's why his promo was what it was. And Pat McAfee did tag a lot of people out there. He tagged the Busted Open. I think he tagged a few of shows that Coachman is on. I know he tagged a few people. Did just
Hey,
really
I'm
say,
testing. It's 1, 2, 3. Can you hear me?
yeah, I get you. Yeah, you hear
Okay,
me?
I had it. Okay, my headphone died. Yeah, yeah. Okay,
Oh no, but yeah. So I mean, and that's when he came out with the whole video that Final Boss eloquently said perfectly was, if Randy doesn't win this match, I'm leaving wrestling. And I was like, and Final Boss was like, well, Randy's losing. I was like, well, that'll be crazy. That'll be stupid. Unless Cody turns heel. That's the only way this will happen. And somebody joins Cody, which I do not want no one to join Cody because the way WWE is doing booking right now, I'll just rather have Cody turn heel and that's it. Just leave it like that and that's it. But um, I think you're right, Final Boss. This whole thing is going to get turned around because they see the uproar of the IWC. They do listen to us a sort of a bit. There's a lot of stories that have been changed. I talked about that about when it comes to this whole Roman and Uso stuff that we're about to get ready to get into here in a few. Because we're going to run down to Gunther and Seth Rollins because I know you had a lot of thoughts about that, but it's just bad. We have to be honest, and I think that's something we do here on DW Radio. We be honest with you guys that are with us. Shouts out to 225 people. We're not nowhere in to the end of our podcast, guys. So thank you guys for joining us for that. Let me read a couple comments. I'm going to get a couple in here since we don't got no calls yet. We only got two, so I'm going to do it real quick. But Lou was saying our um biggest fans of DWE Radio who did repost his space. Thank you. Shouts out to you for that, Lou. Was saying that he was hoping it was going to be Ted DiBiase, Jr. I think it still will be, Lou. I think they're probably will swing that way. He is going to be in Vegas that week. So they might pivot again because what we hearing, it could have been a pivot here. With them. They did a lot of pivoting last night, and Jesus Christ, it was just getting worse and worse as they was pivoting. It's like they couldn't fix it. It was like one problem on top of another problem on top of another problem. It was like they was everywhere. It's like a scramble. Shouts out to our EVP, the EVP, the Golden Boy of DW. He's the Golden Boy of DW. Shouts out to you, from the EVP show. I guess he's talked to us through YouTube. He was saying Cody called Pat McAfee Disco Inferno. But shouts out to you on everyone who did come in. Like I say, if you are looking for the link to do your call-ins, that link is pinned to the Talk It Up page. You will see the video of us live, and you will see in the comments. Just look and click that link if you want to do a call-in. We'd like to hear your thoughts about everything we talked about. But let's get back to Raw. Here, Gunther was revealed to be a person to be facing Seth Rollins, but we's gonna go ahead and I'm gonna set it up for you guys. We got Paul Heyman come out. He came out, grabbed the mic, did his promo about Seth Rollins attacking him and stuff, and all the things that Seth Rollins has been doing, and kind of really challenged Seth Rollins to come out. He kept saying it. It took a while for Seth to come out again, and I thought this was gonna set up Breaker. To be honest, because I was like, okay, well, Breaker must be cleared. But come to find out, Seth came out, and from behind, it was Gunther. And I was like, whoa, wow, this is kind of weird. Gunther put them in a sleeper hole, kind of choked them out. Seth sold it real good. Shouts out to him. You can see him on the announce table, like getting choked out, and Gunther laid him there, left him laying there on the announce table as we went off air. Um, and I know this set up a lot of things. I don't know if I missed this part. I could have been because I think I was a little busy on Monday. I might have could have missed it. But I think the IWC was asking, was could this lead to Seth being retired? And I was like, no, he's still. There's no way they're going to do that angle because that will probably kill this whole career killer thing. But I was telling you, we were saying this a plenty of times, and we know that somebody has to be a fan over there in creative, and we were trying to give y'all the facts. Some things y'all have been doing, some things y'all haven't been doing. But shouts out to Final Ball. She called this for last week. She said that Gunther was going to probably be involved some type of way, and could Gunther be a person that Seth can take on? I was like, no, they'll probably most likely do Breaker out of Gunther. But you was like, well, what are they going to do with Gunther? And we was like, we didn't know. We did actually say something about Gunther. Now we know his direction of the direction he's going to go. I think that it was smart because one, we now know that Breaker wasn't ready yet. Two, this gives Gunther something to do because we have, I think, not just us. I think I did see a couple people say, well, man, Gunther has been doing all these things. Does he have something to do for WrestleMania? And now we know. I don't think Gunther's going to win. I think Seth is going to get one up on Gunther. Now, has Gunther joined the Vision? I don't think so. I don't think. Would he be a great fit for Vision? Maybe. Because they are down a couple guys. You know, they love doing this, adding people, and me and Final Boss, we said this like a couple of episodes when we used to do Talk It Up when they was doing the whole solo thing, and we was thinking that some of the Bloodline members were going to come back and wonder who all these new people was, but they never did that. Maybe could they go that direction with this? Maybe, but I feel like Raw has been so good that I have more high hopes up for Raw than SmackDown. Could it lead to somewhere? Yes, maybe. Because I feel like they have more of a chance of doing the things on Raw than they won't do on SmackDown. For what reason, I have no clue. But yeah, it's great to see that Gunther and Seth Rollins will be having a match at Mania. We've actually seen these guys. I think this might be the second or third time they have faced each other. I could be mistaken. I don't know for sure, but they have faced each other quite some time. They're pretty good in the ring with each other. I just like to see where it's going to go after this. I just have Seth winning this match for some reason, Final Balls, so he can always, I think, because the thing will be Seth has one up on division, and he's just like he said in the promo earlier, weeks ago, that he wants to go through the whole vision, and if Gunther's part of this, he'll go through him and take him out. It's just that's where he starts off with. He'll go through him one by one. But that's all my thoughts on that, Final Balls. If you got any thoughts, let us know about the Gunther and Seth Rollins, and them facing that Mania. You think it's going to be a good match or not? Maybe not. Well, we'll get back to that. When she comes back, she might have stepped away from the phone. But let's go ahead and let's get into some other news. Which, since we're talking about division, let's talk about division. Actually, Logan Paul, Austin Theory becoming the new Raw Tag Team Champions. This was a street fight from Raw that we seen. You seen Logan Paul get out the ring, grab the brass knuckles from his mother. They said that was his mom, but Ice Speed, and Final Boss brought up Ice Speed earlier, was in the crowd, asking Logan Paul, "What are you doing?" And he grabbed the brass knuckles from Logan Paul. Logan Paul pulled him over the barricade. And Logan, LA Knight was got involved. He got in between Logan Paul and Ice Speed. Ice Speed turned around, put on the brass knuckles, and I guess he thought the whole story was. I guess he was thinking that L.A. Knight was Logan Paul, and he hit L.A. Knight by mistake, and L.A. Knight got the some kind of way they got the one up on the Usos because they were trying to figure out what was going on out the ring. You had Austin Theory do the roll up 1, 2, 3, and you seen up the ramp. You seen Ice Speed, Logan Paul, and Austin Theory holding up the titles and holding up Ice Speed's hand. I love the face and reaction of Ice Speed. He did a great job there. And now you have your new champions, the Vision, Logan Paul and Austin Theory, which they've been doing a great job on IG, posting the videos and doing things. I love what they're doing because I've been screaming to the mountaintop that somebody needs to do something in the title with the titles and make them be some type of prestige to it. And hey, Logan Paul and Austin Theory are really doing a great job of doing that, going around doing the videos and just doing that whole championship feeling of
Miami. So wait a minute now. I see that we moved on. I went to the bathroom.
Well, I asked you a question. You wasn't there, so we're gonna go back. Hold on.
I was not here, but wait a minute. Before you ask that question, before you run it back. Jey Uso, run it back. Before you run it back, so you're telling me, fans, DW radio listeners, that none of you guys wanted to call in about the Pat McAfee and Randy Orton thing? See, this, man, this is what. Hey, what's that McAfee at? Because he'll say, hey, this is why the ticket sale is low. Because y'all don't get involved.
Well, maybe they don't see.
That's why he gonna come out here. That's why that's why he came out there and said something. Because he said, hey, y'all not saying enough, man. Why the ticket sale low, man? Try to tell you.
Let me make sure it's because I know I got it pinned to the page. Yeah, it's actually linked to the page. If you put read more, the link is there. So okay, I knew it says call in. So yes, the link is on the Talking Up podcast page. It really is. If you, you can see the video under us, but if you put the read more, the link is there. If you guys don't want to call in, but I guess everybody wanted to hear our thoughts about it. I love to hear people's thoughts about it because I don't want to be the only one because I did hear that people didn't like it. Even if you like it, come on here and let us know why did you like it. We would love to hear your side of view. I don't want it just to be me and Final Boss.
For those who, and I want to talk about for those who like it just real quick, and then we're gonna run it back because apparently I missed something. Oh, I don't think it was going that long, but hey, for those who liked it, a lot of people who did like it said like it because of this reason. They like the Pat McAfee being the mystery caller, which hey, y'all could be our mystery calling EW radio if y'all click that link. Y'all could be our Pat McAfee. But anyway, for those,
I hope it's a better person than Pat McAfee.
Well, hey man, we love our fans, and hey man, when people call in, our mystery call ain't gonna be a letdown like Pat McAfee. It's gonna be like The Rock or somebody calling. It's gonna be. But anyway,
I wish. Yeah, everybody about to get to sharing that LinkedIn, boy. Get in
man,
here,
yes. But for those who said that they liked it, and one person who liked it was some people in our chat as well. Again, if you guys are interested in being part of a community, EDW community, then community. Then go ahead and DM us, let us know. We'll put your picture in the chat.
The Islanders is still here. That I'm waiting for people to come back and get their legacy for. But go ahead.
Yeah, that one. For both fans who liked it, they said that they liked the Pat McAfee reveal because the idea of him being kind of like I talked about earlier, the voice of the voiceless, similar to like a Punk, or really kind of similar. I don't know if those who didn't watch old school TNA, but also Drew McIntyre, he was in TNA. He had like this weird, like almost Punk like character where he'll wear like a black shirt and through the crowd and say, hey, he stands up for wrestling. He loves professional wrestling. It's kind of the same idea. But yeah, but for those who liked it, it was kind of like that, like where Pat McAfee was the voice of the voiceless, the voice of like the old school wrestling fans who are now looking at this new product and saying, "What the hell is this?" You know, there has to be someone that can speak up that has bigger ties with the IWC, someone in power, ideally him, which he is in power because as we know, he was a WWE commentary, he's known ESPN. It has to be someone that, can actually has direct access to WWE that can actually speak on behalf of the fans. That was the idea for those who liked it. Who liked the reveal were saying that, it's him speaking up for the fans and really being our voice about how bad it is. When I heard it, I was like, I can kind of see that. But then you hear reports saying, nah, he was supposed to be shitting on the company like that. We don't know why he did that. What was the thing? So that means that wasn't even really the plan. Like, it wasn't planned either. Like, if what is reported is true, if allegedly, presumptively, it said he went off script. So if that is to be believed, and if it is some facts to that, then that means that wasn't what they were going for either. That they weren't even going for the idea of him being the voice of like the old school fans, something that he just did because he just kind of ran with what he had in his head. So that means that TKO like there was a bring Pat McAfee out because of speaker Pat McAfee and they think he's a big deal. So, but yeah, but those who liked it, that's what they were saying the reason why they liked it. But Miami, I'm gonna go ahead and have you run it back, and answer the question that I guess you were asking me when I was gone.
No, I was actually just giving everybody a rundown of my thoughts about Gunther and Seth Rollins, and I was just asking you, do you have any thoughts about the Gunther and Seth Rollins? And then if you want to speak on the vision stuff, you can too. And then we'll move from that.
Yeah. The Gunther and Seth Rollins thing, kind of unsuspected, right? This whole time we thought it was gonna be him and Ron Breaker. We even heard uh Rollins cut a promo saying he don't care if they're on the shelf. He's still gonna end the vision. So like, we're probably gonna end up something in the vision. Even if Braun Breaker is not back, he'll do something with the two remaining members of the group. It's kind of weird because we have gotten, you know, Seth come out during the Brock Lesnar state segments, but then not get physical and kind of leave. And this one, same idea. And then we got Gunther wearing very tight and unflattering pants over there, putting the go to sleep or putting a sleep hole on Seth Rollins right over the announce table, and then he passes out. Um, so we're officially is going to get Gunther versus Seth Rollins, and we're like, for a month, we're like, where the hell is Gunther? Gunther hasn't been on TV in over a month. This is a guy who had retired John Cena, same guy who retired Goldberg, and now he doesn't have a match for WrestleMania. And it was reported that there were a lot of steps on here because it was originally supposed to be in talks um with Rey Mysterio, possibly, and this is not a report, something that I would think maybe something to do with Chris Jericho because WWE, it was reported WWE they wanted to put him on a retirement tour. Of course, we know ready to retire. He's back in AEW. But it would have been something probably either one of those two matches or set up, or at least a setup for that feud for Chris Jericho for their eventual match they would have. And because of things, Rey Mysterio's injured. Chris Jericho went back to AEW. So even though we got a lot of hints about Chris Jericho return, we heard the inner circle, we heard like the learning, we heard the learning tree, and then it was apparently we're in talks, and it kind of just fell through. So, but we didn't hear anything from Gunther. And then we kind of had Seth Rollins kind of hanging around the balance of Brock Lesnar, but we already know it was going to Brock Lesnar over Femi. So like what I see here, it's kind of dancing around. It was reported that Braun Breaker was backstage at Raw. But I don't. But it's also reported that he wasn't clear, so that's when they decided to go ahead and pull the trigger and have Seth versus Gunther. Now, this is where it gets interesting. All right, I'm doing the John Cena. So why am I here? This is where it gets interesting. You remember he said that promo. Um. So I had heard Michael Cole say on the announce on the announce team, say that on Raw that hey, something along the lines of yeah, another career will hang in line with Gunther at WrestleMania. So I'm telling Miami, I'm like offline, I'm like, so I guess Gunther's gonna retire Seth Rollins. I didn't put that out on my timeline. Like, no, it's not gonna be a retirement match. They're done with the whole career killer gimmick. I'm like, well, go ahead and tell Michael Cole that. Michael Cole is setting it up like it's gonna be a retirement match of Seth Rollins. I hope you know that. And if it's not that, which I don't think it is, then are they just done with the career killer gimmick and it's kind of going to the whole like Randy Orton style where it's like he's the legend killer but still having regular matches where he's the career killer and still having regular matches? Is that where we're going with that? Just someone's available to retire? And is this a good match for Seth Rollins, who we have really been awaiting his return since he was injured, and we wanted to see what was going with the division? Is this really a good match for Gunther, the same guy who retired Goldberg and John Cena? I mean, is this a good placement for them? I guess because hey, Gunther didn't have a match, Seth Rollins didn't have a match, both for the same reasons. Of course, Seth Rollins doesn't have one because Von Breakker is not clear. Gunther doesn't have one because Rey Mysterio's out injured, and the possible build between him and Chris Jericho is flopped because Chris Jericho went back to AEW. I mean, is it just because of that? I believe that the whole idea now would be, of course, you have Gunther versus Seth. About who wins, don't know. It might be Seth just because it's not career. It's not career ending match, so Gunther might clearly actually lose. But I think it sets up to tie him back to Gunther and Brock. I've heard other podcasts. I believe it was actually Wrestle Talk in this one. Shout out to them. Shout out to Ali Davis and Lugoin. Celebrating 10 years QR code. Um, they stated, hey, maybe the whole thing is like Brock or Paul Heyman, paid off Gunther, to attack Seth Rollins, and that's where we're going with it. But I believe what the whole thing is gonna be Seth and Gunther is gonna have a match. But I also believe that maybe Brock comes out and interferes with the match between Gunther and Seth Rollins because he's so mad about the whole Paul Heyman stuff between them two. Talking about Paul and Seth. And then he comes out to interfere to beat down Seth, and there's a misstep. And that misstep causes Gunther the match. And that's how we lead to Gunther versus Brock because he's mad because Brock caused him to lose the match against Seth Rollins. And that's why I think we're going with this. That's how we set up the retirement match between Gunther and Brock Lesnar.
I mean, they get. I think they could, but I don't think Gunther. I don't think. I think they'll probably set it up another way. Maybe it down the line. I think they just gonna let Seth win just out the, completely. They'll probably set up something later with Gunther. If you ask me, final boss. But yeah,
But I think that's how we get there. That's how you get the Brock and Gunther match. Is that you have Brock come out there interfere, and then it causes Gunther, and that sets up their feud. It writes itself
yeah, yeah,
for
yeah,
me.
yeah. I mean, they could. I can see them going that way too. I mean, we'll have to see. Did you have any thoughts about division?
Yeah, I
winning
mean,
the tag.
we kind of knew that they was gonna have Theory and Logan go into the tag team division. I mean, what else could we really do with it at this point? Because everybody else is out and is out injured. Reed is out injured. Breaker is out injured. Um, and so we really knew they were going to go to the tag team routes between them two, which is that's where we're going. It also was speculated that the Usos was going to lose the tag team championships, but they kind of put it back because the Usos was supposed to be like a MLB event or MLB game. I don't know which one it was, and they wanted to show them showcasing the title, so they pushed it back. So we kind of knew that they were going to lose the titles, and I was okay with them going that direction because it kind of felt like the Usos wasn't utilizing the tag team titles as it should. Like, yeah, there were a lot of times where they didn't carry the belts out to the ring. There's a lot of times where it was like two different characters, like where they're goofy, they're doing the yeet, and then we're turning back, and then they're being more serious with the bloodline. But like Wrestle Talk actually said they kind of liked the idea. Well, they didn't say like the idea, but they were saying that just two characters. He has like the tag team guy, which is more of the funny character, and then the more serious guy, and then the bloodline stuff. So I'm like, oh, I kind of like that. Um, but yeah, but the Usos weren't really utilizing the tag team titles. We thought it was something great because we remember all the great feuds we had, especially the feuds between them and the New Day back when they were penitentiary era of the Usos, which I probably my favorite Usos uh run. Besides the Bloodline, of course. But and of course we did get a match, rematch against them now, which was really their best match of this tag team run. But other than that, I mean, we really didn't see much from it. It kind of felt like the women's tag team titles back, way back when they first debuted them, where it's not being used to its full potential. So I kind of get why, we're gonna move from that. They were tied up in the storyline uh with Punk and with Roman. So I'm like, maybe they're gonna go more in that direction, which we'll talk about that later on here quite soon, actually. But I'm like, okay, it makes sense for them to lose it because they're kind of going, a different direction with them, putting them more into the kind of like the bloodline stuff again. So for me, it kind of makes sense about where they were going, especially with the Vision, who kind of needs that now because it's like Paul Heyman, he's more focused on the Brock Lesnar stuff. It's just them two left now, so it makes sense to give them something for them to go ahead and do and kind of give at least some meaning to the Vision. I mean, what else can they do? Um, so I totally understand that. There's another point I was gonna say, but I don't remember what it was now. Oh yeah, and then of course it was odd because I was like, is that new music? Like I'm like they finally got new music for the Usos, and it wasn't
Oh,
good new music. Yeah, yeah, yeah.
seriously.
They came out to new music, and at first I thought maybe I heard wrong because it sounded like it was like a remix of their old music. So I'm like, is that new music? I'm just hearing it wrong. So I posted it on, of course, on my timeline on X, and that's when I looked and I said, okay, yeah, everyone's saying they got new music. So I'm like, and so for them to go ahead and finally debut new music, because remember they was doing just me Ooze when it was a tag team, so it was just kind of a weird thing. Um, but they finally got new music to lose it on the same night they got new music. Like I'm like, well, what was the whole point of that? They could just left it alone then. I also read some rumblings about fans being disappointed in the arena because they didn't have the Yeet because of the new music. Um, so it really kind of killed off their spunk. Like, hey, maybe the Usos don't have the best tag team run right now, but hey, we still had the Yeet, which they kind of killed that, and they didn't do the Yeet. They kind of just came out there and ran out to the ring, and their brand new music. So a lot of fans disappointed with that. And if that's the case, kind of a bad time to go ahead and do that because one, you guys are changing their music, and they're losing their titles on the same day you debut new music, which kind of is the opposite. You kind of really want to debut new music when someone gets a new character or if someone was a championship. A good example of that was Naomi. Naomi got a new character when she was perceived with caution. So we got new music, bad new music, but we did get new music because it makes sense. So here we are getting brand new music for them to lose a title the same, in the same night. The other problem is with that new music is that here we are, 2 weeks away from WrestleMania. And so the one thing that was guaranteed to get the crowd pumping, get them on their feet, especially when you have a crowd that may be fatigued from sitting out there for hours, is them doing the yeet. Everyone loves doing the yeet, whether you're Uso fan or not. People just love doing it. Kids love doing it. So are we gonna get the yeets, for WrestleMania because you just changed their music? I mean, so they think about that aspect. Are we gonna see that, or maybe the whole thing is, hey, Uso's not even gonna have a match for WrestleMania. Maybe we won't see him at all, or maybe they'll just come out, during the Roman Reigns match, and we won't need any music. But I think it's also a kind of a bad thing. Once again, not listening to the fans, where people love the yeet, and we're not even getting that for WrestleMania.
Yeah. Um. Yeah, but we also got the return of Roxanne Perez. We did get Liv come out, do a promo, and Stephanie Vaquera came out. She looked great. Did a beatdown, and she went to go grab the chair out the outside, came back in, and was about to get ready to hit Liv with the chair. And next thing you know, Roxanne Perez came back out. Came back, I mean, and helped assist Liv Morgan. I think one thing I did like here is that a lot of people we was thinking, and I'm not gonna lie, I was one of them thinking that Liv Morgan was going to get turned on here at Raw. I
Mhm.
thought that Roxanne was going to join Finn because we all know that Roxanne did get brought in by the Judgment Day by Finn, but I still think that this is happening. I think
Wait,
Roxanne they're
well,
playing Roxanne
well,
as a mole.
oh, hold on, because we do got a call. We
Yeah,
actually got a call in. So,
I know. I'm
but
gonna get to
But
it.
yeah, yeah, yeah. But hey, we're not gonna tell you guys now. We got the mystery man on the phone.
Oh
We're
Lord,
doing the PKO.
we do not got the
But
mystery
before we
man on
bring,
the phone.
yeah, but so hey, so we'll say, hey, we don't know. Hey, could be Pat McAfee himself. Now hold on to
Oh
your hats
Lord,
there
ain't no, don't
now.
do that. Then you
I
gonna get us
mean,
canceled.
but
Jesus
but
Christ.
before we get into our mystery caller about the Stephanie Valkyria thing, yeah, we got um I'm gonna live going out there and cussing and calling Stephanie and her mama, a B word and all and calling garbage. In Spanish. We got Stephanie to say, oh, she called me a bad word in Spanish. I heard that. Let me go ahead and beat her up. Looked great, nice outfit, but it is very clear that her and Liv are probably gonna have a pretty bad match. Not bad as far as in-ring ability because Stephanie is very, very good in ring. We've seen what she can do. Liv Morgan, not my favorite in ring competitor, but she can really sell a move. And I do like her. Oblivion is actually really, really cool. It's probably like my favorite current ladies move right now. She can just do that 5 times for me and then just get out for me. But she, um, but I don't. But I feel like the chemistry between her and Stephanie Valkyrie is just not there. I can see WWE trying. I can see Liv trying. I can see Stephanie trying. But I think the language barrier is just so heavy here, and I felt like maybe if Stephanie had a mouthpiece, it'll be better. Um, but right now it's just not there. And then you're having Liv Morgan, you know, trying to cut, so up to her, trying to cut simple promos in Spanish to try to get some realism to it. But at the same time, it's also, mocking Stephanie Valkyrie, which is that's what she's supposed to do because, Liv is a heel, but it's just not working. Like you have these two great stars that have a really great look, a really good character. Like let's be honest, like Liv character is really good. Stephanie, The La Primera characters, is also really, really good. But it's just those two together is just not there for me. And I really think that after WrestleMania, they should probably never have a match ever again. Because I don't think it's working. Now, granted, I could be absolutely wrong, and they could have one of the best matches at WrestleMania. But right now, I don't feel like the build is taking off as it should. And this build has been going on for a long time. It's not like we started this build like last week. This has been going on for over a month or so now. And I don't feel like we're in a stronger place than what we were a month ago. I actually feel like we're in a lesser place because I felt like the highest point of the feud between Stephanie and Liv was back when you had Dominic translating it semi translating it for Liv and saying, "Hey, I got this. I'm gonna say something." I think that was probably the high point. Another high point is when they had that recorder sit down when you had Liv kind of like crying and kind of oddly crying, even though she didn't say anything too bad. I feel like that was kind of the high points of the feud. But here we are, close to WrestleMania, and I feel like we're like 10 steps back. We're not doing the Rock. We're not 20 steps ahead anymore. We're 20 steps back now. I feel like those two things I just mentioned should be where we are now versus where we are right now is just her cussing, you know, and her just getting a beat now, which okay, it kind of makes sense on from a booking standpoint because hey, we have this language barrier between Stephanie and Liv. Let's have Liv try her best to cut a promo inside of her home language, which we all know is not Liv's native language. She's a Jersey girl. Ew, I'm a New York, right? We don't like Jersey. That's why Paul Heyman also took that shot at Jersey. Now, we don't like the New Yorkers don't like Jersey. Um, but um, but I kind of get it from that standpoint. Like, hey, we have her cutting a promo inside Stephanie's native language, which is very dear to her. She's from Chile. Part of her character, she talks about her culture, being in Chile, and all those things. So it's really personal. Now also it's personal because hey, we had Liv talk about her mom, but we also have seen her dad support Stephanie. Remember we saw when the dad came and everything. So we know about her being close to her family. So on paper it makes sense. So you have her come out there, take a shot at what's personal to her, which is her family. Use her native language. And then have Stephanie get so mad and beat her up without having to have that weird dialogue between the two. So on paper it makes sense, but it's just not there. And it kind of reminds me of where we were at the previous year where we had, Io Sky, in between the Bianca and Rhea feud. And because of the language barrier, we kind of use that as a third wheel and we got, Bianca mushing her in the face during a contract signing because, we couldn't have the back and forwards because of the language limitations. Um, so that's how I feel about it. But then of course we got the return of Roxanne, which it was before we did hear rumors about Roxanne coming out. But my whole question, before we get to our mystery caller, before we get to Pat McAfee on the phone,
Oh Lord,
is
stop saying that. We're gonna get canceled. We're trying to get people. You trying to lose people? What are you doing? Don't listen
hey,
to her,
TKO,
y'all. I don't
hey,
look.
TKO don't give a damn.
I'm about,
They
I'm
said
about
we
to
don't
fire
care with
her.
those people, man. You
I'm about to
can't
fire
fire
her.
me.
Well, technically, I kind of can't. Can
Can you do that?
I don't know. We gotta look at the paperwork. We'll talk about it later. Go ahead with your spiel.
But yeah, with Roxanne. But my whole thing is, I feel like we're eventually gonna have the Roxanne gonna side with Finn, and then we'll have a whole thing between with Finn and Roxanne versus the rest of the Judgment Day. I feel like that's where we are going. Because remember, there was a time where when and this is particularly what come to Liv, when Liv was out with injury, we had Finn Balor bring in Roxanne to kind of drill that wedge, with the Judgment Day, and we kind of had this weird thing where Finn kind of put Roxanne there to kind of take over the place of Liv. It was kind of like this like weird thing, and of course, remember we had the whole hotel room key with Finn and Liv. So I kind of see them going back to that whole idea, and then using Finn and Roxanne to kind of put that back up. So I kind of like that idea. But my question though is the question of Raquel, where is she still with the Judgment Day? Because I don't see her interacting and none of the stuff going on with Liv and even the stuff now with Roxanne coming back on Monday. So is she still with Judgment Day? Because they didn't break up. It seems like they're slowly kind of like slowly kind of pushing her out
I don't
on
know.
her own.
It seems like you know how they love doing those off screen breakups. So um
But I feel like
maybe
would have heard
maybe
about it.
maybe did some off screen breakup. I don't know. It's weird. I don't know. I have been noticing that too. It's just who knows?
Yeah.
They
It's just
might be just trying to
odd.
build. They trying to build her a little bit on her own because maybe Liv is
Yeah, but
overshadowing her. Maybe a bit. I don't
there's
know.
a there's a way to do that on screen by having a story. I mean, yeah, Liv and Stephanie are supposed to be having, well, they are having a whole thing, but hey, I mean, if they really want to do that, we all know that Raquel's probably likely not gonna have a singles match in WrestleMania. So they could have easily waited after WrestleMania to build the whole um Judgment Day issue with Roxanne. If they don't, well, move that first with Roxanne and Liv against Raquel. They could have definitely waited after WrestleMania to kind of pull that trigger and actually do that though. I mean, why do it now? Is it really needed? Is it going to lead to Raquel having a singles match at WrestleMania? No, she's not going to have one at WrestleMania. So I'm like, why not wait to actually do something on screen, give Raquel a real direction, give give Roxanne also a direction, will also gives Finn a direction where you can kind of have these teams, split apart. I mean, hey, I'm pretty sure that Liv is gonna need a few after WrestleMania because we damn sure ain't gonna have her continue the whole thing between her and Stephanie because it's not good now. The only thing is that we're committed to it now because of WrestleMania. So why not save that? That can be part of Liv's feud. We'll have her and Raquel. Eventually, we'll have her and Roxanne. I mean, that's the two feuds right there in the books. It's easy. It's easy writing.
I mean, yeah. I mean, I have noticed it like you, but I mean, I guess that I was just thinking, well, maybe they just doing it because they don't want Liv to overshadow Raquel. Maybe I don't know. We'll have to see as we go along, man. As we get into the few. Before we get to our last two topics, let's go ahead and get our caller. We have a caller on the air.
Oh man, we got to cut back to the phone.
Oh
Everybody,
my
hold on,
God! Stop
hold
saying
on,
that.
hold on. It's Pat. It's Pat now.
Oh Lord, it's not damn Pat. Shouts out to our caller. Lou, you are on the air. Welcome to DWE Radio, the radio that's not on the radio. But guess what? We're on Twitch, we're on Spotify. Shouts out to you, Lou. What are your thoughts about um Raw, SmackDown? What do you want to talk about? I hate to say it like Cody Rhodes, but what do you want to speak on here on
Oh
DWE Radio?
man, oh man.
I
To get
hate
this
saying the term, but it is what
to
it
get
is.
yeah, to get this out the way, the whole ordeal with Pat McAfee is a mess. What I would hoping it would be Ted DiBiase Jr. given the history that Cody
Mm-hmm.
has had with him. Granted, Randy does not need a mouthpiece at any given time, especially that version of Randy Orton. I think it was like back in like 2009, around that time,
Yep.
where
Oh
when he
nine
was like
Orton.
super bald. But yeah, it's a mess. Honestly, Pat, the promo itself didn't need to be included into the rivalry that Cody and Randy had. It could have been its own separate thing, and I feel like it wouldn't have been as bad. But since it was a part of that whole ordeal, it's kind of terrible. Kind of is an understatement, but yeah.
What are your thoughts about you have any thoughts about Division and Gunther from what happened?
It seemed like the decision that was made randomly. It was just made too quick. It was like Seth Rollins, his main focus was strictly division, and then to have Gunther come out of nowhere and just silence him or just put him to sleep, basically, that was random. I'm not doubting that the match that they're gonna have at Mania is gonna be bad because both of them are really good, but maybe it'll turn into something that maybe it'll turn into something like, oh, the Paul Heyman, this is Gunther speaking to him, and oh, you owe me a favor at SummerSlam or something like that. And maybe it
Oh Lord.
somehow turns into a match against Brock
Oh Lord.
Lesnar.
Yeah. I can see them doing that too. Oh, you owe me a favor. Oh Lord, here we go again.
Yeah.
Yeah. Um, I
And
guess
hold on,
last.
before you ask him the next question, and hey, sorry guys, but doing the TK reveal, it is not Pat McAfee on the phone, but
Oh
it is someone
Lord.
good. It's Lou, the enforcer of the island there. Shout out to Lou because Lou he also did appear on EVP's predictions. But I agree with Lou about the Pat McAfee thing with Randy Orton. You know, like I said, hey, we didn't need, if they didn't have anyone, we didn't need to enter another person into this whole story for Randy Orton. It could have just been him just having voices in his head, him tapping back into old school Randy Orton, the Randy Orton from '09. Um, I agree. And I also agree with Lou where, hey, we all kind of thought if it wasn't going to be, and I said, it was hinting at his dad, but it wasn't going to be Bob Orton, then it could have been DiBiase Jr. As we all know, he was cleared of all charges. So we thought he was going that way as well. It made sense because we had Randy on the phone saying, hey, there's more than one royal family. We all know who Ted DiBiase's dad is. It's the $1 million man. Money, 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 money. So we all thought, it could be that. We know about history of them with legacy and everything. You have Cody was and that whole group it was actually Cody's group, but um, well, I feel like it was Cody's group, but it was technically it was a really Randy's group. But but we all kind of feel like that's could have where they were going. I mean, you would have had all three players basically in here. You would have had Cody on the other side. You would have had Ted and Randy on this side. It would have been perfect. Now, I don't know if you got that scene, but there was a weird video that had came out where I think it was Ted was on the phone with his lawyer, and like in the back, he was saying that he was on the phone with Randy Orton or something like that. So we're
Mhm.
like, ooh,
Yeah.
okay. So what was the whole point of that? He did that on his own?
Well, that was a throw off. I told y'all that.
Oh,
We
Jesus
said that. I
Christ.
said on DW Radio, it was just a throw off. They were just using that. Once he did that, I said, "Oh, well, it ain't him." Then y'all might as well. I said it here on DW Radio. I said it. I said, "Oh, that's a throw off." But I
Hmm.
guess my last two questions, Lou, before we let you go, is what's your thoughts about the vision? I know everyone hated the Usos' new music, and then I'm gonna ask you about Pump, Roman Reigns and Pump. But what you thought about the vision winning the titles, and what you thought about the Usos' new music?
I'm save the vision question for last. So the Usos music, it kind of threw me off guard a little bit because like, okay, this is something interesting, I guess. But that's the add on to what Final Boss was saying earlier. Like, what's the point of debuting new music if they're gonna end up losing? Now, to answer the vision question, the way that the vision is now, it stinks, but it's also what can really do about them as well. Because Breaker is injured. I think Bronson Reed is injured as well, so I don't think they're really able to do anything with the both of them. So they honestly they had to put the titles on them for the time being. Maybe they lose the titles at some point, or even well, they would even have to drop the titles. What I'd hope that they do at some point is maybe implement the Freebird rule. So basically, once for those that may not be familiar with the Freebird rule, is that if you're in like a
I am.
multi-person stable, like let's say you're in a team of four and half of your team is like injured for whatever reason, if the other two individuals are perfectly capable of defending those titles, then you put the titles on those two people while the other two recover. So just before I start rambling again, uh, that's a whole mess. And I hope Breaker and Bronson get back to the main roster. I miss them both.
You got any thoughts about the way that CM Punk and Roman Reigns stuff is going on right now?
CM Punk don't. He fucked up talking about Roman's dad. He's CM Punk is gonna get what's coming to him. That's all I'm gonna say.
Now hold on
Yeah.
now, if I know you correctly, which I could be wrong, I could have swore that Lou was a fan of Liv Dom. How do you feel about Judgment Day? About where they're going, of course, with Roxanne making her return back on Raw, the feud between Stephanie and Liv, and then how Raquel is doing great stuff, is looking great, but not really interacting with Judgment Day like the last couple of weeks. And the last thing we heard was when I believe when Liv had her come out and called her big sexy, and she was applauding her, and then she kind of moved away from the Judgment Day and just kind of been looking great on her own.
Is you there, Lou?
Yeah, I heard that. Uh, honestly, the Judgment Day has lasted way too long. If I'm being honest, it should have already been disbanded a while ago. If I'm being honest, but glad it's finally breaking apart slowly. If that makes sense.
Yeah. Of course, we had the whole Finn Balor and Dom thing going on, and of course, I believe it'll eventually will into Liv and Roxanne. But do you think we should kind of
Yes,
hold
that's
off on the Living Roxanne first and kind of go through Finn and Dom first, or kind of just kind of mix them all into one big pot and just have Roxanne maybe join Finn and have a whole thing between Dom and Liv and Finn and Roxanne?
maybe that could be something that happens. I wouldn't mind seeing that personally.
Yeah, I mean, I think it gives Roxanne something for her to do, and I think it gives Liv something for her to do. Um, After her match with Stephanie Valkyrie at WrestleMania. I think that's where we go.
Yeah. Like I said, you said the last thing about Punk and Roman. Great point about that, Lou. Appreciate you coming in with us and
Of
listening to us
course.
as we get down to our last two topics. Because guess what, Final Boss, we have another caller right after our last two topics before we end the show, and then we'll get
Oh
to our
Appreciate
man,
next
y'all
show.
I
having
have
me.
no idea who that
I'll get
is.
out of here.
I
So
don't.
appreciate
I
you,
don't.
Lou. Thank you for
Of
being
course.
a guest on DW Radio. Like I said, if you want to come back and listen to it again, it will be available
Absolutely.
to you on Spotify or YouTube. And if you ever want to call in, the link will also always be available to you on one of the pages. Or hey, like you told me, say in the comments, hey
Yeah.
Miami, check the DMs and I will send you the link. So appreciate you coming by. Thank you for supporting us, man. And like I say, thank you for retweeting this space, Lou.
Of
Appreciate
course.
you.
Hmm.
Make sure you all your
Uh-oh.
pets about DWE radio. All right, I'm gonna get out of here.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh yeah. I'm sorry. Let me go ahead and I do this for Luke. I know Lou loves it, man. Hey, make
Oh
sure you tell
Lord.
your pets. Make sure you tell
Oh
your fish.
Lord.
Make sure you tell your
Oh
hamsters, your
Lord.
dogs, and your cat. Cause we're on the radio. That's what. Not on the motherfucking radio, man.
Jesus Christ. We gonna get restricted. Thank you, Lou. Appreciate that, man. We're gonna put you in the back. You ain't gotta go. But we're gonna put you in the back here, man. And we're gonna touch on these last two topics here. But let's go to our next topic, which is CM Punk, Roman Reigns. Roman Reigns came out the not with the music. Came out, he was about to get ready to do a promo, and then actually did do a promo. He said a few words
Oh
and then
wait, who the hell else is calling? Oh, we doing a
don't
Pat
worry, we'll
McAfee
get
because if I don't know who it is it the Rock calling?
we'll get to the next call once we
Oh
did our last two
jeez.
topics, final
Oh
boss. Jesus
jeez. Oh
Christ.
jeez.
Keep,
You man,
keep
hey,
your panties
y'all got
keep
to
your
do
panties
the
in a
y'all have to
bunch.
do man, you gonna have to do the whole DW I mean the whole WB thing where we say, hey, but I'll see you in St. Louis, man. We're gonna be hey, you're gonna see
Oh
this
Lord,
caller
no.
in the next few minutes, man. Y'all got to wait, man, because I'm waiting too.
We won't do that. But Punk came out, interrupted Roman. They got into a huge fight. Punk actually put Roman through the table, and I love this part, even though Roman's my guy. He started singing the same thing that the crowd did was the same thing that the crowd does when they do the Roman Reigns chant, which I did like. This might be one of the few that I'm so glad they haven't messed up. Thank God, and we're so close. So please, WWE, don't mess this up. I did notice that they did take out Jimmy and Jay because I think a lot of people are saying that Roman. I didn't feel like Roman
Well,
needed help or was getting help from them. I
well,
just felt like
you
I liked the story that they was doing with him, but now it seems like they pulled away from him. But
Well, you
I did
said
like
that,
it.
but I disagree because at the end, I think you said you missed it. You said you turned the damn show off. But I heard Michael Cole said that after we got of course the attack on Roman Reigns by CM Punk, of course CM Punk through Roman, through the announce table was the same thing that we saw previously, but it was the roles reversed. We saw Roman do it to Punk, and we had Punk laughing, saying he's not the one that needs the help. Now here we are this week, where it's the opposite, where he's doing this to Roman Reigns, standing up and saying Roman Reigns, Roman Reigns, which, as we know, is a crowd chant. Initially started overseas, we're getting it now in the U.S. Now it's just like a national thing. Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns. But we had the announcers table. We had say one, look at the sick maniacal way that um Punk is saying the Roman Reigns chant. Look at the look
Yeah,
in his eyes at as he looks at the WrestleMania sign. We had that. But Miami, we also got at the end, the very, very tail end, before you cut off the show. We
yeah. You,
got
you beat up
we
a
got
boy,
the
put my boy
announcers.
through a table. What you thought I was gonna do? I
Man,
was a
you
little pissed, a
man,
little bit.
man, you cut it off, man. You say, hey, it's time to go, man. I don't even know why you did that. It's not even a 3 hour show. It's a 2 hour show.
Man,
But
you
and
put
then
my boy
hey,
through a
hey,
table,
and
man.
this is the
The
best
man
show.
went
This is
through a
the best
table,
show. This
man.
is the best show.
It is.
But we
But
had the
my
announce
tribal chief
table.
went through a table, final boss.
Hey,
Man,
we
come
had
on,
the
man.
announce table. We
I was in my feelings.
Man, hey, well, you better be in your feelings now. Hey, that's the best show of the week. We had the announce table say, the announcers make a little weird line at the end and say, hey, maybe Roman does need, his family now. So we kind of got that. So I'm like, I heard that. I'm like, oh, okay. So that means they're gonna do something back with the story with the Usos. And it was weird because going back to what we talking about the bloodline, we got all these hints with the bloodline with, of course, late night making the bloodline reference, everything like that. But previous week we got the Tongas saying um to Solo, you're starting to sound, like Roman. get back the lantern. And then this week they kind of moved from that where it's over and they gave back the lantern back to the sis. And they're like, and it's so asking, hey, are you good? Or, are you cool? So I'm like, oh, they kind of moved away from it, from having solo. Maybe some other Samoans get, into this story. But um, but yeah, we definitely did get that little line from commentary before Raw went off. So I'm like, that gives me a little light, like saying, hey, the Usos are not done with this whole story. I don't know about what Solo is going to be in the story or not, but I don't think they're done, with the Usos yet. Being part of the story. Remember, the Usos also lost their tag team championships as well. So I mean, what else is there left to do? I think that's just to make room for this story.
Yeah, that's true. Let's go ahead and get to our last topic. I know we didn't have a lot to talk about SmackDown because SmackDown was pretty bad. But the last thing I think I did want to talk about to you guys before we get to our last caller was the Lil Yachty was backing up Trick Williams. He was out there with Lil Yachty, and I was like, man, okay, this is interesting. But as he was doing the promo, I guess you had Yachty doing. I guess he was trying to do the hype him up and stuff. And for me, it wasn't for me. And we did hear reports that WWE did want Yachty to be a part of WrestleMania. I guess they feel like this is another thing. They feel like, well, maybe could draw in people. And I understand they were trying to maybe get new eyes on him, maybe get some fans of his on him. Maybe that will move the ticket sales. But I don't think that's going to do it either. The pairing between him and Trick Williams, we'll have to see how it's going to go. But right now, I'm not too of a fan of it. Um, Final Boss. I mean, I know this is your guy. You love Trick Williams. You
Hmm
love him to death. But what's your thoughts about the pairing between Yachty and Trick Williams? I mean, you like it or you like the
I
direction
mean,
they're
well,
going to go?
hey, no, this is a one time thing. This is just them bringing out a random celebrity because we're in WrestleMania season. There's nothing gonna come out of it.
I hope so.
I know that. Yeah, I don't think we're gonna get anything out of this at this point. It was just there just for hopefully to get some additional eyes on the product, maybe some Yachty fans. I'm pretty sure they exist out there somewhere in 2026. Where I don't know. Um, but I think that was the whole idea. But I didn't like it. At first, I was like, oh, I kind of understand, Power. He says a good friend. I kind of like them coming out, both wearing the matching white. But then he's over there shouting out just random sounds. I'm just like, I mean, I did like the back and forwards that they got, because you got, them calling, Sammy, gingerbread and gingerhead and ginger ale and all this stuff. I did like that, but you got Yachty being like a 1999 hype man, just saying random stuff and just kind of making random noise to get this crowd up. And we're just kind of sitting there like, it kind of reminds you like old school, like Soul Train, old school hip hop awards. Yeah,
Yeah,
put your hands
yeah,
up. Yeah, yeah, let's see
yeah,
them hands.
yeah,
Yeah, you literally like just the hype man. Now it couldn't work in certain people because who had a great hype man in WWE? Bobby Lashley, because he had Leo Rush and he was a
yeah,
great hype
yeah.
man. That
Well,
was probably that was
it
probably the
worked with
best
Leo Rush.
run. Yeah, that
Yeah,
was probably the best run for Leo Rush. I think that's what he's most known for. Before he left WWE. But yeah, it just felt out of place. It didn't get anybody excited like as it should. I think it's because of where Yachty is as far as his credibility, in the music as far as about his fan base. You can't have someone like that. Yeah, he's known, but his fan base is not very large. So them doing that, it just kind of doesn't, you know, uh, feel. It just feels out of place. And then you're in a place like Missouri, which it's not. I don't know a lot about Missouri, but when I hear Missouri, I don't really think urban like that, like in Atlanta or something like that, or like a Miami. So, and no, not just Miami. I'm talking about Miami, the actual city. I don't have that urban feel. So that's another reason why the disconnect is also like kind of there. So that's another thing with WWE not knowing their audience like that. Now I don't know where y'all is from. Is he from Missouri? Don't know.
no.
But okay. Oh well, then I don't know. But But yeah, so it's like it's just knowing your audience and then knowing your demographic. I don't think it was there. Even if it was in a different area, I don't think it will also be there as well because of, like again, he's not like this uber popular guy where he's like a must see, celebrity. Like back when they had um a Bad Bunny, yeah, he's still big now. Kind of big right now in a bad way because of the Super Bowl performance. But back when he was in WWE and he was at the height of his career, like that was when he was having concert tickets for like $10,000 and stuff. He had, we had that tour where it was absolutely going, people were going ballistic. That made sense because that was automatically going to get a pop because of how popular, he is, especially was, back then. Same thing like back when they had Snooki. I don't know if you remember this, but when we had Snooki in the match for WrestleMania, from the Jersey Shore. Do you remember that? Because Jersey Shore was popular back in the early
I remember.
2000s. It got a
Yeah.
crazy pop of WrestleMania. She did like a weird little flip. We all went stupid. I mean, because back then it made sense. You bring it out today, you're like, and I remember you, but you're not, where you were. And I believe she's sick right now, from what I was reading. So prayers for her. But it's about timing and placement. You can't just put these two together. You can't just put two people together. Well, they're both black and he seems kind of hood, so we put them together like it'll work. Like that's not the idea. If you remember, hey, they had Travis Scott come out with Jey Uso because Jey Uso had, of course, the Yee, but also he kind of had this urban vibe where he's kind of known to be more of like kind of like yeah, more urban and hood like. So it's like, we just put him with, we'll put Travis Scott with the Usos. It makes the most sense. I think now they probably would have put him with Trick Williams, but it was just in bad taste, and it started to get really annoying. And I even put even again on my timeline like this is going on for way too fucking long. Like they were out there for way too long. Like they should have been out there for like maybe a minute or two tops, and that was it. They should have went out there, did their insults, and maybe had Lil Yachty try to do some kind of easy move and then be done with it. They didn't have to have this man try to hype the crowd up, making weird noises and stuff, and they was like, "Who is that again? Is he still good? Trick Williams in there. Okay, yeah, Trick Williams, yeah, whoop that Trick, yeah." You know, um, I think it went on for just way too long, and I didn't like it. I feel like from the outside looking in, if I was TKO WWE, they're probably like, man, hey, unless we can find some really mainstream, really popular celebrities that can go on, be available and see what they want to do, then kind of move away from celebrities. I get why you guys are doing it because hey, hell, we're in WrestleMania season. We already got the goats involved, right? We got Cena's is gonna be hosting the show. The Bells is gonna be on the card. Of course, Charlotte is gonna be in the crowd. Is gonna be in the car with, of course, Alexa. Of course, we got the other goats like Brock and Seth and Roman and CM Punk. So let's go ahead and kind of put it all together and also add some celebrities. I'm like, hey, you're gonna have celebrities, man. You gotta do your homework and make sure it's someone that's noteworthy. Even if they're not noteworthy, put them in a segment that actually, makes sense. Have them do a backstage segment, maybe do something with Danhausen, like kind of like Steve was doing, and then just be done with it. I think that's the best thing to go ahead and to really do. I mean, stop putting them in front of crowds, if they're not a super over celebrity right now, in the media. And they would have someone like maybe like a Taylor Swift. Oh, absolutely run that through because, she's super popular right now. One of the biggest stars right now when it comes to music. So that we know worth the money. But when you're looking at people like Yachty and like a Jelly Roll, which hey, Jelly Roll looks great, and did a great job. That's not going to sell tickets, and it's certainly not going to have the casual fans tune in to to see a product. I mean, I know it's kind of like hard words to hear, but but that's the truth, man. Like, I don't think no one tuned in to SmackDown and say, "Yep, I want to see Yachty come out there." People turned to SmackDown, tuned in for what? Because he wanted to see the mystery caller for Randy Orton. That's really the main reason. Now there's other people on the call you wanted to see. Of course, we got Lash and Nia Jax. We got Rhea Ripley. We got Jade on the, we got Jay. There's other things around, but I think what the main drawing point was people wanted to see who the mystery caller was going to be, what they want to do with, of course, with Melo, because a lot of people weren't happy with Melo, losing the United States Championship. But I don't think people were going to tune in. Additionally, if they did, it's probably a very small percentage just tune in just to see y'all to come out there.
Yeah. I know just reported 8 minutes ago, Sean Rossap said there will be some Pat McAfee and Orton news on Fightful Select. So man, I can only think what that's gonna be about, because I'm pretty sure they probably got a lot of seen the outlash and the backlash of this. So I'm pretty sure there's going to be some changes coming. And this is why I say I would not be surprised. It could be someone probably link or some type of link to WWE would listen to us, because I guess somebody heard the frustration of Final Boss, because she did quite a spill. And now this is being reported. So shouts out to Sean Rossap. He just reported it. Posted that on his thing. So go over there to Fight Select and see what's going to be going on with Orton this Pat McAfee thing. I do agree with you on the Yachty thing. I don't think it's going to be a one and done thing, because say that he got to call Yachty to come to WrestleMania. And like I say, they might just probably trying to use this to get, I know it probably get maybe new eyes on there, but I don't know how much it will move the needle. I think that's what they're looking for, something to move the needle to get ticket sales. And everything they're doing is not working, especially on the SmackDown side. That's just my thought and thoughts before we get to our last caller for today. Like I say, if I had to grade each show, I'm giving Raw an A, and I'm giving SmackDown, man. It was bad, not good. And this is coming off of the firing of Road Dogg. We thought that it was bad because of Road Dogg, but I don't think so, guys. And this is why we got to stop saying fire this person, because that's maybe not the whole thing when it gets down to it. But I don't know if Final Boss is going to be back. But I think this is, like I say, this is my last and least thoughts about the whole overall. I wanted to get Final Boss thoughts, but I guess we'll get it back when she comes back. But let's go ahead and get into our last caller for today. Shouts out to you, Wise Man Greg, from DWE, man. Thanks for coming to DWE Radio, the radio that's not on the radio. But guess what? We're on Twitch, on Spotify. What's your thoughts about
Hold on, Miami. Hold on. I want to clear this up before we get to our mystery caller. Is that the Wise Man?
Yes.
Okay. Okay. Well, this is big news coming from Wise Man. But hey, Road Dogg was not fired. He had resigned. So I heard you say fired. He resigned, and he openly resigned and said that, and it was reported. And he did say that the reason why he resigned was because this is a quote from him saying that Creator was moving a bit too fast for him. That's what he said was his reason was. It was probably some more pieces to that, but that was the main line that he said.
I can't tell, man. It actually got worse. But Greg, we have you here, Wise Man Greg. Do you have any thoughts about Raw, SmackDown, about the person being the mystery man of Pat McAfee? You can give us your thoughts about the vision. Anything we talked about here on DW Radio, Judgment Day, Gunther returning, Stephanie McMahon, division winning the titles. Do you like the Usos music? And also So, like, what you thought about you, Lil Yachty? What's your thoughts about everything that happened this week of wrestling, Greg? We like to hear your thoughts.
Okay, so everything that happened on wrestling this week. First, let's start with SmackDown. SmackDown was kind of lackluster because I did watch it. You know, I hope Melo gets better because he did get injured. But
Yeah, I
um,
did mean to say that.
so so yeah. But as far as SmackDown goes, I would give it like maybe a B minus because I think they could have done a lot better than what they did because it was just lackluster. Now, as far as Raw goes, like you said, Miami, Raw was like an A plus. You know, of course you had the Judgment Day and their thing, and then the big reveal was Roxanne coming back to help Liv Morgan. Um, I guess kind of stake her claim to the women's title, and then with Division winning the titles, um, I'm gonna say I didn't like the way they won the titles because I get you want to bring in um superstars like I Show Speed for shock value. You're on the road to WrestleMania, and you want to get people to watch it. But as far as the Usos music goes, um to me it was like it was a shock because I like the original music that they had, and I think that they should go back to that. But it's WWE, man, and right now, I would say Raw is definitely beating SmackDown because it's just Raw is the better product, and I think Raw is able to tell more stories, and I think SmackDown is just trying to find its way. But that's my thoughts on everything. So
What's your thoughts about the Pat McAfee thing? Did you like the Pat McAfee was the mystery guy, Greg?
no, 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 no. About this Pat McAfee stuff, right? Okay, so for weeks on weeks, WWE, specifically SmackDown and Raw, they had us hook, line, and seeker. You know, we were like on the edge of our seats trying to figure out who the mystery man was.
Mm-hmm.
And last night, when this, when they said it was Pat McAfee, or when Pat McAfee cut that promo and said he was on the phone, to me, that just took the air out of the arena, and that took the air out of the
Mm-hmm.
storyline because like this is Randy Orton. Like he's supposed to be the legend killer. He's supposed to, you know, carry on this legacy. Of course, he said, "This is my legacy. This is my legacy."
Mm-hmm.
So it's like,
Mm-hmm.
to me, you should have had someone maybe like a Bob Orton, or his grandfather, or just like a legend of the WWE.
Oh,
So,
now it would be his dad. His grandfather has
Yeah,
passed,
yeah,
so
well, his
yeah.
only
dad.
his dad's left. But
Oh,
but they all have the same name as Bob. So yeah.
yeah,
Yeah, yeah.
but as far as the Randy Orton stuff goes, man, I wanted it to be a legend, and I think Pat McAfee was just like a huge letdown to me because he was building this storyline like it's gonna be me, it's gonna be you. You could have even thrown Ric Flair in there, or something like that. But to me, it was just a huge letdown, man. And we're on the road to WrestleMania, and people are looking to be surprised, shocked, and this is they should have just picked someone else other than Pat McAfee. It's
Yeah.
just like it's just like a grab and a reach for like shock value. and that's what it was. I wanted someone else, like a legend, like someone we haven't seen recently, But I mean, if this is gonna get Randy 15, then hey, he gets 15. I just wanted it to be like a legend.
Yeah, yeah, I
So.
understand. Yeah, it is a letdown, total letdown. We spoke about it, Greg. Yeah, I think I knew you liked the Roxanne stuff because I know you're a big fan of Roxanne, Liv, and Raquel. Final Boss asked that, and I think this is a question I think I asked you because you're such the Judgment Day fan.
Mhm.
She said, and she asked me, but I was like, I don't know. But she said, "Do you feel like?" And I'm gonna ask you, do you feel like Raquel's kind of been not a part of this story because she has been by herself a lot lately. She hasn't been really kind of a part of Judgment Day. Do you feel like that they pulled her from the team, or they just trying to build her to be her own separate star, and then maybe put her back into the group because Liv is just such a big character. What's your thoughts
Mhm.
about Raquel not being around? She wasn't even in the beatdown when Roxanne and Liv did the beatdown with Stephanie. What's your thoughts
Mhm.
about that?
Well, I'm glad you asked that because I think it's by design. You know, granted, she is with Judgment Day. Granted, they used to come out together, but like I said,
Mm-hmm.
I think it's by design because um, you don't want to you don't want to like put her in the story just yet, especially if we're going into this like Liv versus Stephanie theme at WrestleMania and stuff. Like I think it's by design because, and I think they're keeping her away. They're keeping her away on purpose because right now the main focus is Stephanie and Liv. You know, um, you know, as far as them bringing in Roxanne to help Liv beat her down, I also think that's done by design too. Um, because of course you have like Finn, and everybody says Roxanne was brought in by Finn and stuff like that and stuff. So it's like, to me, I think you need to focus on the Liv and Stephanie stuff first and get that out the way because we're only a couple we're only a couple weeks away from Mania. I think I believe we're either 2 weeks out or maybe like a week out, and there really hasn't been no one-on-one build between Liv and Stephanie. And I think that WWE took Raquel out because they're gonna revisit that story later. And I think Roxanne is gonna come into play with somehow, some way she's gonna come into play with both of these stories. Cause right now, what nobody is noticing and what I've noticed, Ro- Roxanne plays a big role in all of this. Yes, we understand she was out for a week due to injury. We understand, you know, there's the stuff with Raquel and Liv. We understand that they're close, but at the end of all this, Raquel and Roxanne is going to play a bigger role in this Liv Morgan storyline. Now, if Liv goes on to, face Stephanie or beat Stephanie for the title, I think that's when you bring back Raquel, and you get Raquel to say, like, well, congratulations, I'm happy for you, but, you get her to, you start the feud with her and Liv if you go that way. Now, if you don't go that way, then you just keep all three of them together, and then I guess break them apart due to Finn, I guess, because he plays a part in this too. So that's just my that's just my guess. I don't know,
Yeah.
but
Yeah. I mean, I can see it probably going that way. Yeah, we'll have to see. I just wanted to ask you that because I knew you was a fan
mhm,
of the Judgment Day. So
mhm,
but yeah, shouts out to you, man. Appreciate you for coming by, stopping by, man. And giving us your thought here on DW Radio, man. We really appreciate you stopping by. Thanks.
mhm.
You always are welcome to come by. You do know where to find a link because you work for us. So
Yes, yes.
hope to see you again. Hope it's not the last time. I don't think Final Boss had a question for you.
Mhm,
Because you might be doing something. But
mhm.
Final Boss, you got any questions for Greg before we send him back to the back and close this thing out? Nope. You don't got. She don't got no nothing. Yeah, she probably better to get ready to head out. But like I said, guys, thank you guys. Oh man, we're almost at 300. I know that Standard Delivery is about to get ready to start. Shouts out to the NST people that's watched NST. I know Collision will be coming on here soon too for for you AEW fans. Any other stuff that's coming on? I think I'm thinking the AA stuff came on yesterday, but it could be coming on today too. Who knows? But any wrestling stuff that's coming on today, guys. Hope you guys catch that today. Shouts out to everyone who's stopping by. Remember to follow me on X. That's Miami the Great 305 on X. Follow Final Boss Baby CFO on X. That's my co-host here. You can catch us here every Saturday on at 4 o'clock p.m. or most of the time, just whenever Final Boss feels like she wants to spontaneously come on line and do DW Radio. Now the only time we don't go live on DW Radio if there is a PLE, the main card PLE is on. So that WrestleMania Saturday and Sunday we will not go live. We'll go live probably a little bit earlier that week or just go after that. I think Wednesday of that week and give our thoughts. We'll probably have a quite a rundown that week of WrestleMania week because the way we're going is probably going to be pretty bad. I don't see it getting good, but we'll have to wait and see. But please give her a follow. Please give me a follow. Put us on notification when you can know when we go live. Please give our Talk It Up page a follow. Like I say, the link was in the pin page, so you will catch that every time we go live. You will get that pin on there. You guys can always call in. We'd love to hear the IWC thoughts, especially. I think you probably want to let people hear your voice. If you do want to visit this and go back and listen to it, you can catch it on YouTube, which you can go subscribe now on YouTube. That's Talk It Up Podcast on YouTube. We have the full episode on YouTube, but there's not every episode is on YouTube, not 1 through 14. I quite forget when we start doing it on YouTube, but guess what? If you want to listen to 1 through 14 episodes, you have to go to Spotify. The link is in our bios. You can click that link; it will take you to the Spotify, and you can catch every episode 1 through 14. If you're on the road and you just need something to listen to, these things be about like an hour or two. You want to pass time by and catch up on wrestling. This is the best way to do it and get you caught up on what's going on in WWE. Other than that, guys, please give us a follow also on Twitch. We do need those Twitch fans. That's DWE Radio on Twitch. So follow us on Twitch. You see the name down below. We have all the names where you can find us up on and where you can find us available on. If you do watch us live, if you do watch us back on YouTube, you can catch that on the YouTube so you can know where to follow us. Appreciate you guys. Go like the shorts that we'll be putting out here soon. Go like all the stuff that we put out on YouTube. And just also give us a follow on X. Other than that, I guess Final Boss is out of here because she's not back yet. I don't know where she's at. But special thanks to our call-ins today. Shouts out to the wise man, Greg. Shouts out to you, Lou. Thank you guys for calling in. We love when people call in because we love to hear your thoughts because we just won't not have people hear our voices, want the IWC to be heard. Shouts out to CJ,
Well,
the Golden Boy.
radio, the
Yeah,
radio,
the radio that's not on the
radio, radio, the radio. I'm here, radio,
radio. Oh,
radio.
bye. You ain't got that. You got any closing thoughts? You got any closing thoughts?
No, man. Hey, we're
No,
2 weeks
you ain't
out
got no
from
closing.
we're 2 weeks out from WrestleMania. So hopefully, we see where we are. Let's see if they're gonna go ahead and pivot. Shouts out to our callers, of course, Lou, the enforcer of WWE Island, the community Island. Shouts out to Wise Man Gray. Go ahead and be on the lookout for something special from Gray coming out in the next few weeks. We'll announce that later on. But yeah,
Yeah, I can't wait for that. I mean, something real big for DWE is going to be involving Greg. So, like I say, once again, you got to keep. I say keep the Talk It Up page on notification because that will be something that will be presented on the Talk It Up podcast page. So, and I think you guys will like that soon. So please be on the lookout for that. Shouts out to you, Greg. And like I say, y'all guys got to stay tuned. Hopefully, we'll be doing that soon. Probably maybe after WrestleMania, before WrestleMania. We'll hopefully be real soon, but we'll see. We're getting things together. But other than that, Final Boss, thank you for joining me. Thank you for always being a co-host. And thank you for always supporting me in this vision that I had because it is my vision. And you're helping me with it. But you love the radio stuff and you fell in love with it and look where we're going. I think WWE is
hey,
listening to us because,
shouts
like
out
I
to
say,
the vision, man. Shouts out to the vision, man.
oh, Lord. But other than that, we are out of here, guys. Appreciate you guys. Catch us again next Saturday or a little earlier. Who knows? Something big might happen. The Rock might finally come because it might call
Oh,
Arya,
geez.
might call The Rock
I ain't
again.
getting my
Tell
health
him,
up.
look, might tell him, look, save me, please, because they're killing me. But we'll see, man. But other than that, y'all, we catch y'all guys later. Love y'all. Peace, love. And always remember, there's always opportunity if you make it what you want to make it, man. The community
Radio,
is big and the community
community,
is always here. If you're
community
trying to find a
pools.
positive, respectful community that's going to respect you and your opinion, here's your place. There's no other place because there's only one
Mm-hmm.
DWE, and we're still waiting for them to come back and get their legacy. We're out, ooze. See you later, final balls.
Oh,
And always know, acknowledge final balls and acknowledge your Miami the Great. We're out of here. You're head of the table and your final ball.
radio. The radio's not a fucking radio.
Yes.